Come and face all the guys.
Well, I told you.
Nope, I have 5 minutes.
Their time to move out.
You're already on the agenda.
Do I have to sign in?
Well, are you?
You're on the I'm on, I'm good. Yep. Okay.
Did you begin to put it down to?
Not long enough.
Well, I like the.
Were you asking about the?
That's still not.
You join me in the pledge, please. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everyone. If you've not signed in and wish to do so, now would be the time. It's not a mandatory requirement. However, it helps us in making sure your name is in the minutes. You don't want to do that? Okay. I see we're all present and accounted for. At this point, we'll go to agenda modifications. Anybody have anything?
Are you gonna talk about spraying the mosquitoes?
I added it
Is
to
it
the
in there?
agenda.
Okay.
I changed it before I brought it tonight, so there are a couple additions, just so you guys know.
Okay. Okay. Seeing none other, we'll proceed on. At this point, we'll go to council meeting minutes approval for March 9th.
Can we do both of them? I didn't add the March 13th. I put it on
Excuse
my,
me, yes.
sorry.
The 9th, we're gonna need 2 motions.
I'd make a motion to approve the March 9th council meeting.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Been seconded. Been seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. The only, okay, at this point, we'll approve the March 13th minutes, please.
A motion to approve the special meeting agenda for March 13th.
It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Pete, you're pretty quick on the draw tonight.
Wow.
Pete seconded, okay.
I'll catch it early.
Any discussion? You got up your game, Reed.
I know it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Okay, at this point, we're gonna go to a community group updates. We have anything? Jennifer's not here. She's usually our updater. Okay, unfinished business.
Roy, can I ask that, since we have such lengthy unfinished business and we have some guests tonight, could we move them up in the agenda and not report? Go first, or do you want to say yes?
Let's leave her as is. I think we're gonna roll through some of this unfinished business. Okay.
Comments from the audience?
Yes, I'm sorry, that was,
Oh, great.
that was.
And Donovan will now be leaving.
Yeah, we-
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was murmured to me. Okay, so at this point, we'll have public comments from the audience. Once again, I remind you 3 minutes, and I will warn you 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Please keep it respectful. How's that? Anybody got any comments from the audience at this point? Oh, here we go. We got it.
All right.
Thank you.
I have to keep it civil.
Yes,
Can I get that in writing ahead of time?
I will cut you off if it's not. How's that?
Perfect. I like that. Just a couple things. One, there's the harassment ordinance is still on the table. The lawyer's not here again, so I'd just like to bring up that this has been kicked down. Can's been kicked down the road since October, so that we're going on 6 months.
Can you
So
say what you said it was, what you're talking about?
the harassment
Oh.
ordinance. It's
Okay,
been kicked down, the can's been kicked down the road for nigh on 6 months, so I realize that Eric has been deployed. That's out of the council's control, but this is a concerning matter, and it'd be nice to see that addressed sooner rather than later. And then also there is the manner of the ordinance, the variance for the trailer that's been going on, and I happened to drive by earlier today, and that trailer is still there. So
so I wrote a letter to them and told them the 13th of April. I gave them,
I just
No, I'm
thought
just
this was
telling you.
public comment, so I was just
oh, sorry.
this was just me making a comment. Just
I'm sorry.
Okay, got it. I'm used to interrupting me. That's why I didn't.
oh no, you're good. So I was just saying that like updates on that would be good, and just hearing that progress is being made would be nice to hear. So
Gotcha. Okay, thank you, Adam. Any other comments from the audience at this point? Great, okay. Now we'll proceed to union contract negotiations. Where are we at on this?
Yes, we are, the management committee has been meeting regularly, and also that includes this week several times. Following that, we will meet again with our negotiator. We are hoping to we come to agreement on most of the things we would like, and we understand that we're the time frame, and we'd like to move it along as quick as we could. I know that we're working with the union, and we understand how important it is staying within budget, and we're pushing hard on that. And also, we're doing what we can to make sure that our whatever agreement we have works well for the city and well for the community.
Pete, could I add to that?
Yes.
So we are 85% through negotiations with the union, having gone through, and we've got tentative agreements, TAs, on about 85% of it. So we're down to some of the nitty gritty. I'm just going to throw in a little frustration over it. I know there's a lot of pressure on people wanting to know what we're spending our money on. And when we come to the table a couple of weeks ago with the union, and we are ready to go through. We spent last fall, we went through a great deal of the contract. We had TAs on much of the contract, and we get to this recent meeting, and the union representative, not the city's lawyer, but the union representative came in there, I would say very unprepared, had to go back through had to have our lawyer, Mr. Menke, had to go back through and remind him of the things they'd agreed upon. I understand he'd been very ill for a while, and that was for part of the delay. But that was 2 hours of time, 3 hours of time that was on the city's bill with Mr. Menke really doing the work of the union. So I just want to state that, so that people want updates of what we're doing. There's a lot that we unfortunately by law can't say, but that did stall us a little bit. Thankfully, we got through, they did send some paperwork that had all the TAs then and some of their thoughts, so we were able to work through that. So that was very helpful to finally catch up. So I think our next meeting, I'm anticipating, will be much more productive. I would sure hope so.
Great, thank you. Dave, did you come up with where we at?
No.
On the bill?
No.
You were not able to get a hold of that?
Didn't know. She said no. I didn't know at that time. So I guess people have to talk to them.
What are we talking about?
What was the president's bill?
The present bill, at this point, we've expended beyond, I think we've gone through about approximately $12,000.
That's what we're up to now?
So we have $3,000 left, and that's why we are, and our negotiators are keenly aware of the expense and the cost, and he's doing all he can to keep it down. And like I said, the frustration was, we're trying to move along as quick as we can, and the union has a little different agenda, which I'm not surprised, but it's not ours. And so we're doing as fast as we can, and we're trying to stay within budget, and it looks like we have we're expending a little less than 12,000,
What was the date of the 12,000 that she gave you that figure on?
probably a week ago.
Okay.
All right, okay.
We just paid a bill at the end of the month, I think. I was gonna look real quick, but just so you know.
Okay. All right. We'll carry on. Okay, harassment ordinance. For those of you who may or may not know, our normal city attorney is in Israel as we speak, in a bunker, I'm guessing. At least that's the last report. So Stephen Bishop, our previous city attorney, has stepped in and is representing us. And part of it is getting him up to speed on everything that Eric was trying to work on. And the second is that he slipped on a rotten apple in his orchard and broke his ankle.
Oh my God.
And he's a little bit slow getting around. So there's harassment ordinance. We'll try to have something more in place when we come back. Okay, Matt? Okay, Alan? Okay.
So because it's on, I actually was gonna ask about that. I thought what Dave brought us was very clear and concise. He brought, and I wonder if we could just bring that back at the next meeting, because I think it's very votable, what was there. It's all state ordinances, it's what's being followed in other places, and I know Eric wanted to go back through it and see if there's any adjustments, but I don't know at this point, not knowing when Eric's gonna come back, when Stephen's gonna get brought up to speed. I don't know. I think the council would be able to look, since it's already state ordinances, and decide if we want that for our town or not.
That'd be a good idea, and then if we have to update it, we can.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, we'll work on that.
Okay.
So can you bring that back to the next?
We'll try to bring it up. Okay, Sea Golf Course remodel tentatively on the 9th. I've got a guy from the Vista coming in to do a walkthrough with us at the golf course and let us know what Vista can do, or and what is in their purview. So
What time is that?
on this, okay, perfect, okay.
9:45.
And
10:45.
I've got 1 o'clock on mine.
I just wrote it down when I got this thing, so
Okay,
it was gonna be.
I will get with my people.
Is it a grant, or is it just doing work?
I believe it's a grant process. Okay, that is my understanding.
Yes, that's
Okay,
true.
all right, okay.
You indicate that's,
And
go ahead.
we'll figure out a time better, so
He will review it all.
somewhere on Thursday. Okay, lease agreement, we haven't moved out any further on that. 250th, does anybody want to take over the planning?
So can we go back to the lease agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So as I brought up in the last council meeting, I think Mike had mentioned a price and a process, and then I put it out for a vote, and we didn't get a second on it. And it was the same thing Mike had said. So it would be raising it to $1,200 a month, and then they would pay their own water. A year. I'm sorry. They're probably scared. They're listening. Sorry about that. $1,200 a year plus water. And I'm not really sure why we're waiting for them to come to us. I think it's the place of the landlords. We are the ones that own the property. We are the ones that tell them this is what we would like you to do. Then they can counter it. They can come back. But so I'm gonna again make a motion and ask that we would go ahead with the $1,200 a year and the water, offer that as a contract, and then see what their response is.
And that's just for the clubhouse, right?
Yeah.
You just pay for the water for the clubhouse, okay?
That is right, Mike, what you said.
One thing I did add to that, is it's a 3-year, and at the end of 3 years, there's an automatic renewal. And that renewal would then be based on the 3-year average of the CPI index. And I think that's fair to both parties. It can go up, it can go down. But if it's in there, then it covers, we don't have hassle. Here it is, folks, this, and here's the numbers. And I think that's fair. And we've done that with a couple of the airport leases, and everybody's been totally up to speed on that.
So I just think we need to move ahead, so we just have to, so that's a motion. So
I would second that, but the comment, I think that, I don't know if there's any questions concerning the liability contract they have, the liability policy they carry, which covers everything, and the city covers everything. I don't know if there was any improvement on either side, but that, if there are any other issues that you're aware of other than what we've been discussing as far as the $1,200 and the water, was there any other main issues that we had talked about?
Well, once again, in a conversation I had with Scott Cotti, I mean, he didn't think there was gonna be any problem on them paying the water. He was a little reluctant to commit to a doubling of the rent on the golf course. And at that point in the conversation, and once again, nothing has been promised.
Right.
He was just bouncing stuff off the wall and seeing how it would work. We were gonna approach about fixing up our clubhouse, which we own,
Right.
and see if we can't make that a better venue that would allow them to recoup some of their rent expenses.
That's all.
And that's what, and I pretty much, when in the discussion, we talked about this would not be due for this year, but it would start January of 27.
Some of the board members I talked to didn't have a problem with that. They thought they could swing that $1,200.
Right. And so if we wanted to do that, then it would take place 27. But any improvements we made to the golf course between now and then would play into that, would help their cause out and help them recoup some of that. So once again, no promises. It's just a negotiation between Scott and I at the time. He'd been gone for a period of time, playing golf in Carolina. So he was a little tough to deal with, and now he's probably farming. So I will probably try to work with that if I got you okay, but we got a motion on the floor. Any more discussion?
Did you want to amend the motion to add the 3-year CPI though, or?
yes,
Okay.
yes. And then I think we need to hand that to Scott, and then that's what you guys negotiate, because he has to negotiate it with the council. I mean, we're the ones that do the contracts, and so if he comes back, if through you, or he comes to a meeting, or through Pete, that's fine, and he can say, then we can negotiate. I wanted to start this year, that's, but I'm willing to have him come back and say, maybe we'll do the water, and then next year I want to hear him come back. I want to have a piece of paper handed to him, this is where we're starting.
I think that's where the proposal that I gave to you would work. Just say, Scott, here's what the council came up with. These are our expectations. Do you have any disagreements with that? And see where it goes. I think he'll sign it. That's a pretty reasonable proposal. And it should be us proposing it to him, like we did with the hangars, like we did with the Wi-Fi revolving when I talked to Donovan. It's us proposing to them and then them coming back if they don't like it. It's not very negotiable, really.
Okay, so there's a motion on the floor.
So, but you guys said, do you want it to be this year or?
That's my motion, is that it starts this year.
Okay.
He seconded it, didn't you?
Yes.
So when this year?
Okay, so now the motion's changed, you put an end date in there.
Well, I didn't know that you were thinking 27 until you started talking.
I
So
didn't make a motion, so.
Okay, but I didn't know I needed to put the.
Okay.
I didn't realize that.
When do you want it to start though? I mean, you just say this year, but anytime this year?
Well, it could start we could prorate it upon to the signing of it.
You could
the
put a
signing
starting
date.
date in of September 1st. Or.
Well, it really just depends on the negotiating back and forth. Once we start it is when it starts, and then if we start in June or we start in September, then we prorate. But it'll start this year upon the signing of the contract.
July would be about midway, so June. So
Let's just set a date, let's just say this is when it starts.
Realistically, where do you rent a piece of ground for $100?
You want just,
April first.
nobody's there.
So,
Well,
do we need to amend that now? How do we do that? We already have a motion on the floor and seconded. And so Dan's wanting to start at April.
Why can't we do it now? I mean, why would we wait? Can we just say May first?
May first, might be better since we haven't talked.
Yeah.
That's up to you guys.
Because that's
May
when the
1st.
season is, May 1st on. That's the season, so they'll be there.
Let's go May first, start
So
at
May
May first.
first, okay. And
Okay,
you agree with that amendment?
I do.
Okay,
okay, now let's go.
Okay.
sorry.
that's a mess. All right. Because now we're at April. Now we've got, you can have 2 amendments to a main motion. We've already got 3. So what do we get? I mean, anyway,
Do you want, how about if we cancel out the motion and we just start over and she says what she wants and he seconds it? If that's
all
what
right,
you
clean
want.
the motion up. We'll just wipe it out,
Okay.
start all over again, and try to make it sensible this time.
Okay,
Okay, so
so
who's gonna try to make this?
I will motion that we move the rent at the golf course to $1,200 a year, and that they pay for the water. Will start May 1st, and they'll be prorated up to the start date.
Do you want to include the CPI increases over 3 years?
And can you help me finish that part? You
Part
will.
of, and Roy has a proposal from me, I have to admit, but the lease is 3 years with an automatic renewal at 3 years. But part of that renewal is any increases or decreases are based on the 3-year average of the CPI index.
Did you get that?
Okay. Are based on a 3-year average of the CPI?
Yes.
Okay,
At the time of the new contract. It won't be, okay, it won't be prorated every year. Just get the
At the end
renewal.
Right,
of every
the
3 years.
and you second that still?
I do.
Okay. Thank goodness. Okay.
So we're pretty clear on what the motion states? Any more discussion?
You know, I know I'm probably the only one here that feels this way, but we had people here from the golf course come and tell us this story. And they are struggling. And they are, you know, they're volunteers just like everybody else. You know, I really don't want to raise their rent. And I know I'm the only one here that probably feels that way. But,
No, you're not.
oh, well, thank you. But, you know, they're just regular people. And if we can do like the remodel or whatever, that's great. We should. That's our building. And do we really need that money from them? So my vote will be no, because I would say stay at 600, maybe pay the water. But I just really feel for that group of people. And they're bringing something really good to our town.
I support it because looking at the financial statements, and they seem like they can afford it. Scott was for it, and the board didn't seem to have a lot of problem with it. I think it's important that the city at least break it even just as a reasonable business type situation and good faith. The golf course is working towards getting more business-like, producing more income. They're doing some improvements. The city went a long way for their septic tank and cetera. Did a lot of work there, thanks to Roy and the staff, good people. And so I think that this is and then we're gonna improve the clubhouse. I think that's gonna be a win-win. They're excited about that. I think this is a kind of a ground zero. I think we're gonna see an improvement.
Okay.
March, they have an opportunity to come back, so if they make a convincing argument, the council can reconsider.
I have one simple question. I'm not that good at math. They're paying 600 a month?
A year.
A year.
$50 a year.
Okay, that clarifies.
So by prorating it, they're just gonna pay $100
Right.
for the rest of, $100 a month for the rest of the year.
Okay.
Okay? All right, motion is, I'm not even gonna try. Um,
I do.
Okay, any more discussion? Can all those in favor of the motion as stated, say aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna I count 6. Any opposed? One. Motion, hold it. I didn't hear you.
I think we need to talk to them a little more about this before we raise it. That's just my opinion. We lost anyways.
So
Right.
both of you are voting no then?
Yes.
Okay.
Shelley, you said something. I'm not sure this can be a negotiation. I think this is our proposal. They either accept it or they don't.
I don't see a problem with that. They will.
Oh, well,
I
I'm
mean,
glad you're speaking for him. 'Cause
well, no, but you were there at that meeting, and I didn't see a lot of people saying we can't do it. I'm not going to vote for that. That was,
I hear you.
I mean, that was the impression I had from talking to him. I know you were there too, which I'm glad. And that's time I've talked to him, and as you talked to him, and it seems that
I'm just, in most rent situations, if the landlord says the rent goes up, it goes up.
it does.
Now, it usually doesn't happen halfway through a year.
Now, if there's other issues that they'd want to bring up that would be separate, like any kind of ground maintenance and other things like the sewer lines and other things we talked about, that could be negotiated too, but because we want to protect.
This is kind of where I was trying to go, so that when Scott and I came to a conclusion, he could speak for the golf course. I would not, without promises, was going to come to what I thought was a logical conclusion. That's how we were going to present to the council, but this is how we're going, so this is how we're going. Okay, 250th birthday of the celebration. Anybody got any ideas? Who wants to take that over? Pardon?
Did you want to talk about the remodel? I had you down for something, okay.
No.
I thought you did, sorry.
Okay, all right. 250th birthday.
I
Who
don't
wants to?
want to take it on, but I have a thought. I wonder if, Joel DeHay does every summer, for 2 years now, I think he's planning again. He does this thing where brings in cars in at the theater and shows a movie. And there was a discussion on Facebook the other day about remembering when we did the cruise on Crosby, and somebody was talking about how when they were a kid, they did it in other towns. And I just wonder if Joel was approached, because he gets pretty excited about stuff like that, if he would be willing to maybe turn that into something that could also be a town celebration. He tends to do it kind of towards the end of July, I believe. And we could, maybe people could cruise around, decorate their cars and stuff. But so my thought would be, unless somebody here is wanting to take it on as another thing, approaching Joel and see if he would be interested in that.
I'm tentatively working on a cycling event on the trail, Palouse Cascades Trail, sometime in July. It's not solid, so I think the more the merrier. If somebody wanted to do their thing and then we had something else, I think that'd be great for the town.
And Joel might say no anyway, so
Right.
what you're doing might be
Okay,
good.
you're going to touch base with him, March?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
great.
guess.
Great. Perfect. Surplus items, we're gonna roll through that because we don't have a situation. Okay, street leveling, paving project costs. Ma'am, do you have those numbers with you off the top of your head? We've got a bid in on the chip seal part or the fog seal.
So we opened bids on Friday.
Sure.
Matt was here. We opened bids. We got, there were like 7 contractors, I think, that came. And the low bid, I want to say it's about $270 maybe a little bit less than that. And we have like another 150 in the budget. So it was very low compared to what we thought it would be. So, Stephen is going to give, Matt a list of roads that need to be done to add to the project.
We can keep spending that money
Right,
that it's wanted.
right. So he'll give him a list and then he'll come up with costs for it and present it to GIB to see if we can add those roads to our project. So that's really good news because it never comes in after bid hardly. So
Yeah.
that's great.
We snuck it in a couple other times. We've had stuff like that and utilized the services.
Where does the 270 come from?
That's what the contractor did to do the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that, we have that in the budget somewhere as a grant?
It's a grant. It's a TIB
It's-
grant.
We've been granted in the neighborhood of what, 450,000, something like that.
Which we're pretty happy.
650, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it came in, we're assuming they're using oil and not water. Okay, that's, could be loosely, but it passed Matt's criteria, so, you know, it has to meet what the bids are, so.
If you do the math, I guess it better use all the grants from.
Yeah, maybe they could put one more coat on the airport, huh?
So what
Let's
streets
not go
do
there.
they talk-
Okay, here we go.
I was
I'm
I was
sorry.
asking what streets they were talking about when you proposed that.
I don't know. I know that the project for you guys
That we presented for this year.
Yes.
Which was there, you know, that
up by your
whole- that
house
whole
and then up
section.
around,
Mhm.
that's one of them that they talked about, but then Stephen was gonna look at other ones. He didn't say any other ones. That's the only one, and I said,
Is that the only one?
no, it'll be other ones.
There'll be other.
Okay. That they might can do.
Yeah, so he was gonna bring a list, get a list back to Matt.
Mhm.
This is
So when I know what that is, hopefully we'll know, I can tell you
It's only
guys.
gonna be chip seal though?
Yeah, it's not pavement.
It's not
It's
pavement,
a-
it's a slur
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
a different product that,
But
oh, I
it's-
forget, you know all this stuff.
I don't know. but
Well, no, you're aware of it,
That's why
okay?
it's asking.
I've seen that place in towns. St. John had that years ago, a slurry. It's pretty effective, and when it's all prepped, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Would you agree with what you've seen?
Well, that's what Fairbanks Road is too.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they said that they would have to put another coat on it in 5 years. They mentioned that. So, to me,
The only problem I've seen, a lady got confused and drove through it, put the stuff just as it was put down, and her car got stuck halfway through, and it was a horrible mess.
Well, I'll try to stay off the road.
And after, she said, "How do you know it's me?"
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, okay, let's go to H, Brown variance. Okay,
so I sent a letter after the last meeting, the day after the meeting, and I told them that they needed to be moved out of their property by April 13th. Because by the time they got the letter after the meeting, I figured I'd give them a couple extra days. So I made it Monday, April 13th. So we really can't do anything until after that.
So the trailer can stay there as long as they're not living in it.
Right, I told them that they can't be living there. Mhm.
So what are we gonna do if they are?
I don't know, what are we gonna do? I don't know, I don't
So
know.
our ordinances say that, in this case is that, sorry, I don't know if I can read it on my phone here. The owner of any recreational vehicle or travel trailer located within the city of Tekoa in violation of this ordinance shall be subject to a fine of not more than $250, which I think is, like, he's starting at is $250. Additionally, in the event of such a violation, the city shall have any and all other remedies available to it under law or equity. Each day, a recreational vehicle or travel trailer is located within Tekoa in violation of this ordinance shall be considered a separate and distinct violation. So I thought it had to be moved.
Can they shut the water off?
So, just so you know, because like what if you had a travel trailer at your house parked next to your house?
well, I
As
think,
long as you're not living in it,
Okay, this is what I just read
I
what our
think it
ordinance
says,
said.
I think what, in Shelley's defense, what it means is anything that is in violation of what we allow. Now, what we allow is your motorhome to be parked on a street. It does not allow it to be hooked up on a piece of property.
right, it can't be hooked up, but it can be sitting there, right?
Yeah, but we want it moved though, because
bothering.
is in violation. It'd be the same effect as if that motorhome was parked there all winter. Okay, all of a sudden they would get, after they could dig out, they would get a ticket
You mean if it was parked on the street?
if it was parked on the street. You know, the way I understand it, the way it reads, is anything that is in violation of what our ordinance says, which is parked on a property, which this is, or it'd be same thing as if it was parked on a street for a long period, or lived in on a street for more than whatever the dates are. Is it a week or something like that at the time? So this is in violation because they've gotten, at this point, they've gotten a variance to allow it there. And now you've said the variance is
Expired.
expired.
So are we allowed to terminate the utilities?
I don't think so. I don't think you can do
That's
that.
not in there.
If they're paying for their utilities, I don't know that you can shut it
Right,
off.
right.
I would have to check with MRSC on that.
So they need to move the vehicle on each day
Well,
that it is still there.
Yeah, they probably can't live in it, but how do you enforce that? We're gonna put an armed guard at the door?
We assume that they're planning on moving it?
Yes, we hope so. That was the terminology we got from them.
They told me that they had no way to move it. I'm just telling you what, when I talked to her. So I'm just passing that on.
Well, there's rental companies, there's maybe
You gotta
some
feel
kind
free
soul
to pick
around
up
town
your
will
items.
help them.
I can get one, but no, I can back under it with my flatbed and move it.
Okay,
So starting the
We'll start
13th,
it.
they're in violation.
yeah, we're gonna start developing a plan. And they will probably contact me again.
And just, as you are aware, there are citizens that are contacting us regularly following that. I know probably you and us.
Yep.
So
All right.
And rightfully so.
So I will contact Mike, because Mike is the one that will have to take care of it. And I believe that all of our fines have to be presented to Whitman County. They're the ones that, we don't collect fines, right? Like, did you change that since I've been gone?
No, we haven't changed that.
So they have to collect the fines. So you would have to do a ticket every day or whatever you said.
He has tickets now.
We're
so
gonna
we do.
follow them up with a letter tomorrow.
Are we okay?
And
Just
I
let
mean,
them
we've erred on the side of caution. We've given them extra time. We've given them opportunities. And so I think at this point, we need to follow our laws.
They can stay there, they just can't live there.
What do you mean?
Well, the trailer is not in violation if they're not living in it.
It is
Yeah, it
because
can be there, but it can't be occupied.
Right.
But how long, and can it stay there indefinitely?
Sure.
even with
There's a lot of
even
ones
with
that are.
the tip out's gotta be pulled in though, because it's crossing.
I think it's been
Yes.
pulled in.
It's
It
been
has
pulled in.
been pulled in for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be the same as if I parked my pickup on my yard.
That's true.
Okay, as long as I'm not sleeping in my pickup. Well, anyway, okay,
That's a good
Yeah.
point, good point.
okay, so we'll follow that up. We'll try to make this as clear as possible and we may even shoot Stephen to make sure we are under some sort of coverage there. Okay?
Sounds good.
Yippee-ki-yay. All right, here we go. We need somebody to oversee the community center. Marge, at one time you talked about being the liaison. Are you still interested in doing that?
Sure.
Okay, what we need is somebody with the ability to go in and clean it in the event that it doesn't get cleaned. Or in the event that it's set, as long as it has without a real event in there, there's, I mean, it is an old building, it just kind of breathes dust. So since things are gonna start happening there pretty quick, we need somebody on call to clean it. And I guess their options are to advertise that unless somebody's got somebody that they could use. In the past, we've had staff do it, which is not gonna happen because that staff member that loved to do it is no longer with us, So
the people whoever we pay for cleaning the bathroom and, is there, and the two places in the library, could they be asked if they would be willing to take that on?
I can sure have a conversation. I don't know that that's in their purview, but we can ask. Is it?
Because there's two different people
Yeah,
that I see
Dana
on our
does
payroll.
the restrooms. And is it Josie does the library? We could certainly offer it to them. It's quite a job. It is quite a job.
So you're asking Marge to advertise or to reach out and find people to
Yeah,
do it?
Is there a way that the theater in some way could, since they have certainly a understanding use for it, they could take some responsibility in cleaning if they use it at all? Because I know that they've got this thing, the door goes into the community building, they've got a exit sign there, you've seen it. And the door should be open at all times during their performances. I said, well, that is certainly understandable, but it's complicated. So I don't know how that all works out, but.
we just need somebody so that when somebody requests to use it, that it's clean.
Exactly.
And to be able to go in and then check them out, check them off and make sure that it is clean, do the walkthrough afterwards and before. I guess it's more than just cleaning.
How long does it, and how long does it take to clean the thing? I mean,
It's a pretty big job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big floor. And then the
it's not just the bathroom,
bathrooms,
but you gotta mop the floor.
Yeah, you got them off the floor and, wipe down the covers and, whatever. Yeah, it's quite a job.
So a couple
Alex
hours-
has done it in the past. She
Yeah.
may be interested in doing it.
A couple hours to take, an hour?
Oh, at least 2, I would think.
I would
Wouldn't
think,
you could think?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, depending on the event. I mean,
Well, it
people have
doesn't
cleaned
have
up.
to clean
I would say
everything.
probably not more than 2 hours if somebody's.
I just think the
Professionally
floor
doing it.
takes a long time.
yeah, probably if it'd been vacant and we just need to go in and make sure everything's clean, I imagine we could probably do it in 2 hours.
Can you ask Alex that, if she would be interested in that?
Well, that's what they.
She'll charge, she's not gonna pay, we're not gonna be able to pay her minimum wage, so
No. She'll ask us for real money.
I've already talked to her.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
The real money is what now?
So more than 17, 15 an hour.
I'm guessing she's up around 35 an hour, at least.
I heard some talk about 25, 35.
At least. So anyway, March, do some work on us and we'll see if we can't come up with something.
So really, all you need is, I mean, what about the actual rental of the building? Is that done here at City Hall? When they come in and, so I'm not on that.
No, you're not the money, you don't have to take that, but somebody's gotta be
Or open
available.
the building and give them
Somebody's gotta be
keys
available to
or-
walk up and go in, because a lot of times that happens on weekends.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give the staff the permission on a Friday night to give them the keys, because they're not paying for Friday night, they're only paying for Saturday.
Right.
So then we have to work that all out.
Well, I've seen the list of the cleaning chores, and if they don't rent the kitchen, half of that is
Certainly,
omitted,
certainly,
you
right,
know?
right.
And so, I
Yeah.
don't think it's that big a deal.
Okay.
Can we put that on the agenda for the next council meeting and follow up on
Yep.
those?
Certainly. Okay, Wi-Fi offer for the old shop, we haven't got an appraisal back yet, so.
But we did find somebody to do one for us.
Well, we haven't trouble getting answers back from realtors, so, about who we do.
Is it being advertised then, or are you waiting for that?
We're just
appraisal
waiting
before
for the
you-
appraisal to know what we want to do with Wi-Fi's offer.
Gotta have that, you gotta have that, you gotta have it
Yeah.
great.
If anybody knows of any appraisers, let us know.
Yeah. I've got an idea, so I'm sorry. Okay, Kara, now you're up.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. I'll
Kara,
let you know 2 minutes and 45
okay,
seconds.
I will try to keep it that fast. Kara Rebold, Executive Director at the Port of Whitman County. I have Commissioner Carl Weber here with me. We wanted to take the opportunity to give you guys an update on the Tekoa project. Commissioners have named the site Tekoa Mountain Business Park. And I think I found an outline there. Brought a little flyer. This is kind of just an overview of the project. We received bids and it was awarded to Holman Construction. They are going to be doing the utilities, all the grading, bringing in the road, removing the old hangar, not the newer one that we have rented out right now, but the old hangar, doing all of that work. We're also working with Avista to bring three-phase power to the property. The port's telecommunications project is also bringing fiber to the property. And then we appreciate the town's working with us to get the water rights, to use the town's water rights to be able to use the well that's at the property beyond the 5,000 gallons. And I think that's been going really well too. So we really want to thank you for your support of that. There's a timeline on there. Construction, we're hoping to do a groundbreaking in May. We haven't nailed down that date, but you all get an invitation to that. And then construction's supposed to be, for this part of the project, completed by October 31st. The actual turning the well, the test well that's out there into a production well, that will go out as a separate project. And then Avista will do their power work separately as well. So within the next few weeks, you should see some activity there. After that project wraps up, of course, we will step up our recruitment efforts. And part of our recruitment efforts include trying to get a special designation for that property as well as other parts of northern Whitman County. And that is what's known as an opportunity zone. So this flyer kind of shares that. Opportunity zones, there already are, I think, 139 in Washington state. Those zones are up for either redesignation or to be phased out, and everyone has to apply again. So we'd like to apply for 2 areas in Whitman County, 2 separate applications. One would be northern Whitman County, and you can see on the map there, it's the yellow shading that includes the Tekoa Mountain Business Park. What this allows us to do is to recruit businesses that want to invest and build infrastructure, build buildings there, and they will qualify for federal tax exemptions. And the other location is in eastern Pullman, and that includes part of the port's Pullman industrial property, as well as the Moscow Pullman Airport and some land in that area. So we're going to use this as a recruitment tool. Just bring this to your awareness because we will be reaching out in the next few weeks when the application opens, asking the town for a letter of support, as well as some of the other towns that you can see that northern boundary. It's a lot larger zone, so we'll be asking for letters of support. It just brings a benefit to businesses that locate there. It doesn't take away any local taxes or state taxes. It helps them with their federal tax. Then the other things that I have, I'm just going to leave behind so I don't take any more time on your agenda, but the commissioners did adopt a strategic plan last year. It's a 5-year strategic plan. And so we have copies of that for the council, as well as our 2026 economic development informational meetings. The dates for those, you are all welcome to come and hear about economic development throughout the county. We appreciate mayors there a lot. We've had the clerk, now that Kenda's back, hopefully we'll get to see you there at some point. You might have been there last time. I was the one who missed. And I should have known that this meeting would be well attended because I don't have enough copies. But this is available on our website, so if you want to
Nice front on this one. This has a really nice cover,
Yes.
a little local flavor there.
So we go share those or on the website. Any questions for me related to the project or anything else? We appreciate the support that you guys have given us so far. We're excited to kind of take it now into the construction mode, past the paperwork.
Are there any businesses out there that already have kind of shown interest?
We have not had, no. We have responded to some commerce requests. We have met with one business out of Canada. It was over a year ago, but the project wasn't far enough along to have kind of the details or to be ready for them in the timing they needed. So we're really going to use this momentum, hopefully, to kind of start more sincere recruiting. Yeah. But if you know of someone, we'd love to talk to them.
What's this gonna look like when they start construction? I mean, there's lots of big stuff gonna come in, or what are they doing? Are they leveling or?
Yeah, they'll be bringing in some big equipment. This company, if you go through Colfax anytime in the next couple months, they're doing the downtown right in front of Rosars right now. So yeah, they'll have some big equipment. I think it will all be up there for the groundbreaking, so you can check it out then. There, as part of the project, there will be some a lane widening on the state highway that WashDOT has required. There'll be a little bit of traffic control during that time, but that's going to be one of the last things that they do because it will tie in with asphalt. So
they got one of the few spots between here and Layton that can actually handle extra lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there just happened to be one spot right there.
I think this is really impressive for Tekoa. You guys have done a tremendous job. And I've talked to Carl a bit. Pretty exciting stuff. I mean, we all think like, okay, that's great. This is spectacular stuff. What's happening in this Tekoa area and all of what you've done. I mean, this is really big. You guys done a phenomenal job. We should be really appreciative of what the impact's gonna have on Tekoa. Congratulations.
Thank you. Well, again, really thank you for obviously the leadership of our commission and then the support of the town, because it really working together with you on the water rights issue has been a big deal. And then I also just appreciate anytime we reach out for a letter of support on our projects or even projects that aren't directly in Tekoa, that we've really been thankful that you guys are willing to support us in all of those things. Being a countywide port is a big job, and it sometimes takes countywide support to do the things that we want to do in all the different areas. So we appreciate it a lot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kara. I appreciate it. There's no other questions? Okay, Donovan, you're up, Donovan.
So, I don't even know, I'm gonna say it was probably a year and a half ago. I came and we kind of gave just a preface of what it might look like if the city was to be annexed, the fire, I gotta say this. If the fire department was annexed into the city. And as our group, we had a lot of questions too. So our last meeting, Bill Tensfield came up, and he is Whitman County Emergency Management Director. And that was last Monday, and he came, he talked to the assessor's office and had tons of information. In the meantime, he recommended that I contact, his name is Brian Sneer, an attorney, fire attorney, and that's all he does. I contacted him last week, and then we've been playing phone tag, because there was some miscommunication on, how soon to get the ball rolling and stuff like that. In the same time, the assessor's office, I said one of the questions that's going to come up, I know this is, what's this going to look like dollars and cents for the city? I said, how much will the city lose? I think that's exactly how I said it. And she said, it's not a loss of funds because the budget amount gets spread amongst the assessed value. And that's the equity and taxation. But to kind of give you guys a ballpark of what, where we're all taxed right now. So outside the city limits in fire district number 1, our assessed value is 88 million. Inside the city, or plus the city, in the city is 130 million. So it's about a $40 million that we would be able to tax at Whitman County's rate. I wanted to say that. So, but when I was talking to Bill, the assessor said that they'd come up to our meeting. So the way I was looking at this was come kind of just open this up that says, at the next meeting, we're probably going to have a lot of people here to show support. And then also, where do we go from here? As far as in state aspect, they don't like how we do it. 2 separate agencies where I'm going to say coexist. We have council, we have commissioners, we have a budget, and they look at it from the stance of one is more long-term financial, makes sense. Because you look at assets and stuff like that. The county side, I mean, we have much more income off of taxes than what the city does. So when we start looking at different things, and this is where a lot of this is coming from, like if we needed to order a new engine, and I'm gonna go brand new, just hypothetical, we place the order and we're probably lucky to see it in 5 or 6 years. Which then you go engine at probably $1.5 million to $2 million, where we're at right now with budgets and stuff like that. The way I look, we're scrape by is how we do it now. I mean, between we fund things through the city and the county, and then the private association part, because I had to buy. We got some new guys, and I'm sitting to get one guy fully outfitted, a little over 20 grand. Which I look at city budget, and my budget's 20,000. So I have to get creative and say, okay, well, the city can pay for this, the district can pay for this, the association, I guess you guys want to pick up the rest of it. So to give an idea too, and Bill, if he's available, he said he would come because he's a wealth of information. I'm getting all my stuff from him. I think there's 2 of us left this way in all of Whitman County that we're separate. The other one is Endicott. I think he said Endicott. And they're actually in the process of doing this already. But it was kind of nice when I was talking to the attorney today, and that part, the association is going to pay for that part because I said I have a hard time spending district money or city money on something like this, and all the guys voted for that for me to use that money for that. But life will be very simple. He's going to send me. I had to sign a contract with him today, so by the end of the week, he's going to send me everything, and it's going to have things like spelled out for the district side, for the city side. I mean, like resolutions. This is when if it passes on both sides, what the terminology to put on the ballot. So the way it works, and I don't want to encompass too much, but so the way it works is if we do want to annex, and that's the term because I was using a different term and I got corrected like 4 times. Is the council votes and would make a resolution if everybody's agreeing on this. The district would do the same thing, make a vote, and if it passes, they make a resolution, and then all of a sudden at that point it goes to the vote of the county residents and the city residents, and then it has to pass that way. I asked Bill like what because he went through it with Roselia, and I said what's downsides, what's upside, because I said I don't want to, I want to know everything, and he said like for the way that they looked at Roselia when they did that it was 100% upside for the city because they were out of it, and it took all the liability off the city as far as anything fire related. It would definitely, I think right now we actually moved most of the stuff to the county side because the county, we got cheaper insurance ratings on for vehicles and stuff like that. But I mean, I look at our insurance for the district side, and the district that we pay for insurance is more than our budget on the city side. So it's frustrating, a big cog in the wheel. One of the things that you can do, and we would not do this because I mean that would be not good person. We can do a lid lift. So right now, we're taxed at 38 cents per thousand. We can go up 1% per year without a vote of the people. But if we want to do a lid lift, then we do a lid lift. And what we were talking, and that was just off the cuff talks. We were talking, like if we went 50 cents or something like that. We wouldn't do $1 because that's with all the other taxes. But we want to start being able to get a reserve. So if something bad happens, we can pull a trigger and do something. So that's kind of where, yeah.
So you said that right now it's 38 cents per thousand, but you are possibly thinking 50 cents per thousand is what you would like to.
And that's a long term. So the way this works is, hypothetically, best world event. So I kept on getting told June 1st if we wanted to get on the August election. I got corrected today by Brian, and he said, no, it's May 1st. And I was like, holy smokes. I said, really? And I said, okay. I said, there's another council meeting. and the commissioners, I talked to them, and they said they would have a meeting, 24-hour notice, and we'd have a meeting. The nice thing, I think, once I get the emails and stuff, it's very simple to send to the county on that side. This would not go into effect. So if the council voted, city or commissioners voted this year, next year it would still not be. It would be. The attorney said we'd have a couple options. One option is we keep it status quo for the 2027, or he said two. He said a lot of people, what they do is they just write it's a one-page contract that says City of Tekoa contracts all fire services to Whitman County Fire District Number 1. They give a bill for the exact same amount that you guys are paying now, or in our budget, not paying now, in our budget. And then the following year, so 2028, that's when the taxation would change. Because I guess it has to be done, the lines on the taxation has to be done August 1st, which I didn't know that until today. So.
And when would the vote be? When were you going to put on the ballot?
Well, best case scenario would be August, for the August
So it'd be after August 1st is what you're saying.
election.
So
Yes. So that's the reason it has to be pushed out a year.
And can you remind me? So does the city own the fire station?
No. So the county owns the structure, the city owns the ground.
So, Don, how does this,
And the city owns one truck.
Right, I knew the one truck. Yeah.
what is the upside for the city for all this? How does it help the city?
How does it help the city?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go. One, you're out of the liability. Two, it's less work for Kinda, the whoever that's going to be, clerk and deputy clerk, because they don't have to do bills. They don't have to do, and you're going to have to help me, our retirement. If we have, knock on wood, death or injury, that bypasses, that goes to the county side.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest ups.
What's the downside for the city?
I asked Bill the exact same thing, and he said there really isn't. They did not come up with one.
We won't have to pay more taxes if this happens.
No.
City does.
No.
He just said.
No, eventually. Right, but it would be.
That'd be a vote of the people. That's the only way.
It's gotta come.
It has to be a vote of the people.
I'm just trying to.
Yep.
Go through my mind, and I can't ever remember a fire
Levy.
being on the budget.
Never has.
So where's that number 38 cents come from?
So that starts off, well, I'm gonna go back from, I'll use like my grandfather, because he was a commissioner, and that was very adamant, we don't increase taxes. They did the 1% per year. I won't say we are the lowest in Whitman County. I think we are the third from the lowest in Whitman County.
The fire department.
Fire
By district.
district. So yeah, no, we cannot just raise taxes. I mean, it has to become a vote of the people. It will be the 38 cents. So as far as Bill talked to the assessor. It might cost the city, in rough numbers, $3,000 to $4,000 in difference in the 32 cents and 38 cents is kind of where it's at right now. So and
So the city residents are paying 32.
don't quote me on
I
this.
mean, a different number
Yes,
than the out-of-town residents.
yes. And there's a formula that I guess they kind of work through, and the assessor, I'm gonna have a sit down with her, and I think she's gonna, if available, she's gonna come up to the meeting, because, so the city gets taxes obviously from Colfax, Whitman County. And part of that taxes, there's I don't wanna say it's earmarked but it is earmarked, but it's not a set dollar amount of what for fire protection. It just says, from the money you get from the state or the county rather, it says, okay, you're gonna operate this, and this, fires being one of them. That's where all of a sudden we went, I'm gonna say 12 years ago, I came and I renegotiated with council, because we were at little under 15,000 per year, and we negotiated up to 20,000 a year on the city side. So all of a sudden, I mean, you guys would have the privy to say, you know what, no, we want to give you 40,000, or go privy, we want to give you 12,000 total. I mean, that's up to you guys. If you drop below a certain point, that's where it's not acceptable, because the citizens of Tekoa are paying for that already on their taxes. She did tell me that there was, and there were some words I didn't even know. I had to Google a couple of them.
Good old future education.
She did say, I said, this is what would the city lose? I can run that calculation, see what the city's reduction would be. And that's when she said it's not a loss of funds, because it gets spread out amongst the assessed value. That's equity and taxation. Where it could hurt is if the stat max. However, we're in the district doing value updates for 2027. So the district's assessed value will raise, and and the loss might be de minimis, which that's a tax term, de minimis. So I don't think it's going to affect, it won't affect the city as much as it affects the county. And this is with all the, like ag ground. And I can speak to that because I have farm ground, but they want to say my house is tied to 240 acres. And they said, well, do we use the bare land taxation, or do you go off the house? And that's where it gets ugly, because if they go off the house, then it's 240 acres on that tax, which, I mean, that's bad. That'd be horrible. Versus, I mean, so I think they're talking about trying to say, okay, well, this is the house and this is
They probably got a formula they work.
Yeah, so they're working on that part.
So if it goes to a vote, then it's not just the city of Tekoa that would vote on it. It'd have to be approved by the whole, because the district, because the farmers are, I mean, the library is kind of the same thing.
Yes.
The farmers pay more in taxes for the library than the people in the towns, and I believe you do have an opportunity to vote on those.
Yes, we do.
So would that be the same thing?
Yep.
then?
So the vote of the people, it would go, it's kind of a twofold. One, to the residents of the city, would you like to be annexed in to fire district number 1? Then the district gets a vote, says, will you allow citizens of Tekoa to be annexed into your district? And then I asked a couple questions too, because I had no idea. I said, what's everybody else do? Do they change the number of commissioners or anything like that? And they said, nope, they keep it at 3. The only difference is the 3 commissioners, they're all at large. They can be in residents or non-residents of Tekoa. At that point, they're all in the district. Like our district, for our fire district, our commissioners can't live inside the city limits.
So you don't have separate districts for each of your commissioners now? They don't have certain areas?
No.
They just can't live in town?
They can't live in town.
So that would not change?
That would change. It would say it's at large. So if you were in, at that point, if it all passed, you would live in Fire District 1. Everybody in here would live in Fire District 1. And then if you wanted to run for that, to be a commissioner, you would run to be a commissioner for Fire District 1.
So we would not have a separate commissioner that represents the city?
Nope, you would want, no.
Okay. I've got a couple others.
Okay.
How are the dollars split now between the city and the county as far as revenue to the district? Do you have an idea off the top of your head?
Say that
There's
again.
no revenue to the district from the city.
Okay,
We have a separate budget that
but
he
we
uses.
do have monies that are taxed from city properties that go to the fire.
So we just have a budget, a fire
Okay.
department budget, and 20,000 goes from current expense into the fire department
Okay,
to pay for the
Okay.
fire
all right, okay.
department.
Just a line item, basically.
I got that now.
Well, it's a fund.
Yeah, I mean, like the airport or some other.
Okay, if the city has concerns about the fire department, how do we communicate that outside of going through your commissioners, right?
Well, it wouldn't be my commissioners. It'd be our commissioners.
The commissioners.
I mean, I
Commissioners that are elected now.
Conceivably, Roy, all three commissioners under the new plan.
They could all live in
legal.
town. Right, right, right.
Right.
yeah, all three of them could.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
who oversees the training, all that regulations that the fire department must adhere to? Who oversees that then, the commissioners?
Right now, I'm gonna say,
Because we've got to vote now because of how much we pay as to, what happens in training and stuff like that.
so right now, I'm gonna say, my job is the training. If I don't want to train something, don't feel
Competent?
I get somebody else to come in and train us. There are certain things I cannot train, and that's when we contract out.
Okay.
A lot of things, there's been a lot of big changes. From my standpoint, and this, Bill would probably talk better because I mean, I'm a salesman right now for this. It would make my life so much easier because you go from use Tekoa Mountain, when we had the fire and whatever. The county is very up and up on for resources that are available to the county. They are not available to the city. So from the stance of, say I drive into town and I see Tekoa Mountain's on fire. I don't have to, and this is a big change. I don't have to call and get a hold of Colfax and go through state patrol to get a hold of DNR to say, we need airplanes. They did a whole big bypass. So I can call DNR and say, get the planes in the air. We're in trouble. The other thing about it that's been good, and it makes it very squiggly lines. So the county, because that's where all the assets are. I mean, being realistic, the county has 6 trucks. The city has 1. Those 6 trucks, and I think Reed would speak to this. I would say the city truck is in the grave.
Is that the one that won't run?
Yep.
They've been working on it,
We've
but
been
that's
working-
the one I was telling you about that is pretty much ineffective.
It
for
isn't
doing any kind of
effective.
firefighting because it's so small.
If we get Anderson, you can have it.
I know, right? Yeah. But that being said, so not the city side, but the county side. So if we have a problem, we're 100% Whitman County. We had to sign, I had to sign it because I was directed that way from the commissioners. We're mutual aid to every single place in Whitman County. So Pullman has a fire, and they need help. We get a massive page and we send a truck. It's the same way for us if we need help, which makes it easier if we're all one district, because when you get on the radio now, I'm saying City of Tekoa, and I'm not District 1 anymore. Well, I don't have mutual aid agreements with anybody else because we're standalone. But we have mutual aid. I mean, just so you guys kind of have an idea, Plummer, the Tribe, Tensed, Worley, Waverly, Latah, Fairfield. I mean, it's Rockford. It's so county-wise, we go on a lot of calls compared to city calls.
Does this district have any correlation between that and the school district?
No. It would originally go back however many umpteen years ago, yes, but no, not anymore. So our district goes like Seabury Road, that's our line. And I don't want to say, because then it jogs, it goes up to, where that hard 90-degree corner is on going to Roselia, where there's a road going to Pittman Road. It goes to there, halfway to Farmington,
Wow.
state line, county line.
Whoa,
You got a big area.
that's big.
Now, I understand, according to our budget, you give right at $66,000 for the fire department. So that won't go there anymore if it goes through.
Well,
But you said something about that we would have to pay for your services?
no. So Ken and I went through this the other day. So the budget, are you looking at the budget?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a little misleading. So when it says $66,000 there, and that is a 100% guess of what bills I'm going to give to Kinda that are going to get reimbursed to the county. So if I go by, I'm going to go by turnouts. I'm just going to make something up. She will pay the entire bill, which might be $40,000. At that point, I'm $20,000 over my budget because the city's budget is $20,000. It's not 66, it's 20.
Okay.
It's kind of a misleading, but she needed that in there and council. That way, if not, I was always going to be in the red. I give receipts to get reimbursed 50% to the city and 50% to the county. All of a sudden, if I spend $20,000 and half of it was going to the county, I'm going to be in the red by another 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
So the 66 is not a real number.
Okay.
20 is the real number.
So,
But what I'm saying is, we won't have to pay that anymore. But you said, I thought I understood you say that the county's going to bill us for the service.
It might be in that first year. And it would be, if they did this, and this is not up to Donovan.
No.
That if for the, hypothetically, for the 2027, so next year, if everything passed, the city could say, let's just keep the status quo for the next year. Or they could say, okay, let's write a one-page contract with the county, and we're going to write them a check for $20,000. And at that point, the city goes like this, and I can't come and say, I need help or whatever. I mean,
Right.
That's where that line would be drawn with the contract.
But downrange, wouldn't there be some type of a district-wide levy decided by commissioners? I'm not sure what commissioners or who would decide that.
Who are the people?
I mean, who would decide if there's a levy, what level would it be at, and how did that work?
So the commissioners could put it on a ballot, and then it has to go to the vote of the people. Just like the annexation, if that went through, that has to be a vote of two separate groups of people.
So
That
if
was
they're
which
putting
commissioner?
it on the ballot, like if we put something on the ballot, we pay for it, but if they're putting it on the ballot, we're not paying for it.
we would have to pay for the city's part for that
We
year,
still would.
just for the election.
But I'm talking about like later, what piece of it later
no.
down the road, when they put on the taxes, that's on them.
That's on the county.
Because that's really expensive to put something.
Yeah.
But we would for the initial permission.
And this might be something, and I definitely don't want to speak out of turn, but I mean, it might be something that, the association can help with too, because you'll see at the next meeting, this is not Donovan. I mean, we're probably gonna need some extra chairs, because I mean, everybody feels like, I guess we're all looking at it as like, I only have a couple of years left and I can retire. Not that I'm gonna, but it's, what are we gonna do for these next people when they're having to scrape by, I mean, significantly, and you start looking like, okay, I have to fix this or get new because we're outdated, and if something bad happens, now we're talking bad lawsuits.
Could I say a couple things, because I was the fire district secretary for Fire District 12 for like 15 years, so we went through.
And District 12, just so everybody knows.
Utah Waverly encompasses there to the state line, or to the county line where he was talking. We went through this, so we did this, we annexed the fire department from Latah and Waverly both into the district. And I was the district secretary, but I also was the clerk for Latah and Waverly. So I saw it from both sides of it. And it really was a great benefit to just have one, the commissioners running everything, one, the fire district as one unit, as opposed to, having separate meetings for the departments and all the equipment and everything. It really was a great, it worked out great. It was a good thing. And I'm not just saying that because of Donovan, it really was a good thing for both the district and the cities. And then the other thing that I just wanted to say is the reason why there's $65,000 in the budget. He had a $26,000 carryover from the year before. So that's why there's so much money there right now.
Okay.
And so the money would be taxed to the citizens for the district. And it would be less money, but we wouldn't have the things that we'd have to pay out of it anymore either, so.
Are you gonna try and get this on the August 1st ballot?
I'm hoping.
So then by June 1st, if you need to have us say yes or no, is that correct?
No, he said May 1st.
May 1st.
In other words, next meeting.
So if it's May 1st, we've got one meeting left. Is it gonna be possible for us to look and discuss this again and vote on it at our next meeting and let him move forward?
I agree.
So one of the things I thought about, because this I learned today, it was May 1st. One of the things, and I figured Kenda's probably going to become my best friend here. Because I'm going to build like a packet for everybody, and it's going to have things really laid out. And half the reason, Bill actually mentioned this, and that's the reason he was proponent of it. And I mean, he doesn't get paid for that, and the auditor wouldn't, or an assessor. But that's where I thought, if they came to the next meeting, because there's going to be some questions you would ask me, and I'm going to sit there and go like, I have no idea. I can get the answer, but I can say I can get the answer now, and I'll get the answer. But at the next meeting, I can say I can get the answer. Well, then all of a sudden it's out the window.
That's where if you can get it to us by, the 20th?
Yeah.
Then we can do a vote on it and you're good to go, correct?
Okay. Yeah. Yep. And so some of the things, and I will give it to Kenda and stuff like that too. I mean, like, I'm supposed to have it by the end of the week, the resolution. I mean, because he said it's specific wording. And well, you guys know about it better than I do. I don't put anything on ballots and stuff. I did go back to what Roy, you were talking about. So, because I asked Bill this question because I thought this was important for the city. Like right now, in city limits, you can't burn after dark. That's whatever ordinance.
Yeah.
That stuff all stays the same. He said the commissioners don't start red line. It's a working together. I mean, it basically changes dollars. It doesn't change operations.
So in a sense, if you don't know it's happening, you won't notice it.
Right?
Right?
Mhm.
And it could be a bit of a relief tax-wise or not? You think it's a wash?
I think it's gonna be a darn close wash.
Okay, and it may go one way or another, but it's probably not gonna be noticeable.
No. The only time would ever be noticeable would be, say 2028, so that would be 2029, is if we did a lid lift. And that still has to go to the vote of the
It still has to
people.
be voted on.
So
But this simplifies the whole thing, really.
it really does.
It does for him.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so.
it's all about
yeah.
Donovan.
Well, you got.
So there's things like, I'll give an example. So like Kim is probably familiar, NIFRS, National Fire Incident something or another.
Reporting system.
So by law, I have to input stuff, okay? We are two separate agencies. So, and NIFRS is not cheap. $4,800 a year is what I have to pay. So you sit there and it's like, okay, well, if I pay, and I round 5,000 out of this, and then we have our retirement, and it's like, okay, well, you're gonna bend things, and I'm gonna make it on and that's not state, that's national. So I record everything that happens in the city under the county, because I can't afford to do everything. I mean, so.
So a timeline question, so if, whether it were to go on the August ballot or the November, is May 1st still the deadline?
No,
So is there a reason it couldn't go on November? Are there other things that are going on? Because is there anybody having to run?
so
Because usually we would know by now, so I'm just wondering if
I can
there's
tell you
other
why.
things to go, yeah, why does it have to be August? Because then we have to pay for August and then we have to pay for whatever goes on in November.
this came from both of them, from the attorney, and because I posed this question too. And they're looking, and the way I'm looking at this is I'm looking at fire only. I'm not looking at anything else. I mean, and when is a good time of year to talk about fires?
Right after fire season.
Smack in the middle of August.
Yeah, but I mean, how much is it to put something on the ballot? It's
Would the
several
city
thou-
have to put it on the ballot, or would the fire district?
We
do
share
that?
it the first year.
We both have to put it on the ballot separately.
Yeah, we each have a
So-
vote.
And if it came down to that, I cannot speak for the association, but I know that they would help out. I mean, because the way we look at, because at our meeting, my fire crew, because I said they're gonna have, it's more than me going out and talking to people to vote yes. And they're all on board with it. So,
I think our last ballot was $1,100.
so minimal. The reason I'm saying minimal is so my little contract with the attorney. So I 1,100, yeah,
So what you need from us is a decision by next meeting.
next meeting.
Well, we'll put you on the agenda. How's that? Will you
You're
be back?
bringing
or-
people with you. And it's-
I will, realistically, we'll probably have 15, 16 people. And I'm gonna try to get the assessor, because I think that's an important person to be here.
You're 15 or 16 people. What are you bringing? Your fire department?
Mhm.
Were you gonna just strong arm us?
No. No.
Sounds like it's.
No, but I mean, they wanted to come, they were actually gonna come tonight, and I started getting texts, and I said, no, this is just,
It's a
just
finals. Don't stay home.
And,
Watch ball game.
but I'm gonna see if Bill will come. That's another added. And then the assessor, and then I'm probably gonna bring like 2 commissioners.
Okay.
Because that way,
Who are the commissioners at this point?
Lee Zimmerman, Steve Smith, Cliff Smith.
Okay.
And then we have, just so, we're in the process of changing our secretary. Right now it's Marina Szynski, and that is getting changed to Kathy Hutton.
Okay. Okay.
Can I ask, do you want him to talk about the Wi-Fi doing the sound system at all while he's still here?
The system
I know I didn't ask you.
That's all
I'm sorry, I talked to.
Let me
I
go
talked
change
to
shirt.
Eric.
I told Sarah, I said, she's like, what are you doing?
You
And
think
I
that
said,
thing still
I don't want
fits?
to wear Wi-Fi. I said, that's like conflict.
We can picture it though, we'll picture you.
Go like this now.
I have one question related to the topic we're on. Since you were involved in this district in a couple of cities, and you were the clerk, what has been the cost to the voters for those since that was approved?
I don't think it was more of a cost to the voters. It was that, I think that the way it was set up at the time, I think that it cost the towns a little bit more money. You know, it was less money that they received on their taxes because it is the tax money that goes to the district.
Right.
So it was just a tiny bit less tax money that we received in each town, and I can't tell you the exact amount. It might have just been a couple $1,000s each. But
According to the assessor, and she's gonna run through that with me, like right now, her rough numbers, and this was after, I mean, I thanked her for calling me because she got home. She said it was like, looked at like right about $3,000 difference.
in that it would be less
That
tax
it would-
money for the city, right?
Yes, that it would, I'm gonna say
Shorten our-
cost the city $3,000.
Shorten our revenue by that much.
That's why I thought it was
And then-
about 2,000 is what I
Okay,
remember.
thank you. That's helpful. We're not talking about a great deal of money.
No, and then that was the argument that, so for $3,000, the amount of work, I bet you you'd be money ahead.
Yeah.
Because.
I don't care.
And so that 20,000, not the 66, but the 20,000 would not be a line item anymore.
Correct.
We just wouldn't go through our heads.
Right.
Exactly.
And I did ask Bill, because he goes to the different places. He asked because I said, well, I said, do we have to try to figure out the city owns this and county owns these? I said, do we have to try to figure all this out? And he said, for what? And he said, normally what the city does is just, because it's not big assets, it's, yep, the
You're
district-
talking about like the gear and
the gear and it just transfers to the district.
Sure.
How, just curiosity, how would a bond work now if we wanted to raise that 38 cents? If we wanted to, could the district, before they combine, would the district raise your out-of-town rates, or and the city have to raise our taxes too for that, or would that all be as one?
I'll ask that to the assessor. I don't know that question.
I mean,
I follow you.
yeah, I could conceive of a bit of an issue there. You know, if and especially if the constituents outside approved it and the constituents inside decided not to. I mean, you know, then what? How does that all bounce?
We both have to pass in order for it to happen.
You both have to have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's, city limits, outside the city limits.
Prior to the annexation.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
no,
this is for the annexation.
for the annexation.
Right.
For the levy lift, like I can run a levy for the district. I can't run a levy.
For the city.
Right.
The city of Fire cannot run a levy.
Okay. And
You could.
We could, the city could, if we wanted to
And that's where
fix our truck.
go with, well, it wouldn't matter if it's fixed or not.
Yeah.
So you go back to like Fairfield, that's a close neighbor. They had, and that, it eliminates a lot of this stuff. And when you talk money is touchy. It doesn't matter if you're husband, wife, or department, or school, or city, or anything like that. It eliminates it. Because what could happen, and I'm not saying it should or anything else, but I mean, there can be a line drawn in the sand that says, we are county, we are city, do your own, county, do not respond to anything in the city. And this happened in Fairfield. And they had to build a separate fire stations. And I'm gonna go like 5-6 years ago, there was turmoil on the city of Tekoa and district. And not me, because I was getting from both sides, but it was not a pleasant, and I sat and I was like, man, I do not know what's gonna happen. Because, you know, when there's a cost associated with everything, so, I mean, like, we sent a fire truck, you know, we sent one down, well, several of them. Yeah.
The canyon.
So the time that we leave the district or from the station, we're billing. And depending on which truck I take, the cheapest truck that we bill is $240 an hour, plus the 2 guys. And depending on where you're ranked is depending on dollars and cents. So like one of them, Dwayne, was with me. Well, our rate of pay, he was lower than I was. So then you go 240, well, go $360 an hour is what, I mean, it's until you pull back in into the station. So, I mean, it's
Confusing.
It's confusing, but it's a good asset. So, and that's not my money, that's the district money. But I mean, like this year, we probably billed almost $20,000 to the state.
And it could go the other way if we require their assistance.
Is it true that we stand alone as a fire district now, so God forbid we get a fire in town, do we have any access to mutual aid?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That was
City
gonna
of
be my
Tekoa.
question on that,
Unwritten.
yeah.
They all,
So in other words,
We
it's a
go
good
there.
type system
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
We have mutual aid agreements with fire district number 1. Nothing with, there's 0 with the city of Tekoa.
So conceivably, we could be in pickles right now.
So like Waverly, Saturday night, Sunday morning, they had a structure fire. Mhm.
In Waverly?
In Waverly.
Oh.
And it sounds like I wasn't there, but they requested mutual aid. And a lot of times you send mutual aid and it's the first one to get on the comms. So they sent mutual aid to Roselia and to us. And Roselia was there. So
I got a question on, if it goes to the county, with the EMS system here, would they try to get that combined? No way, huh?
So that is not up to me. I can say how other places work, and the only reason I know this is because after our meeting, I went down a rabbit hole with Bill because I asked what they tax, and I know that they have so they're fire, and then they also have EMS, and it's 100% separate levies every single year. I want to say it's 75 cents per thousand on fire, and it's like 68 cents per thousand on EMS.
That's for Rosario.
Rosalia.
all right.
I'm assuming that you don't have an equipment list of what belongs to the county, what belongs to the city. So do we need to come up with some kind of a contract or legal term or whatever to say that the city is going to release all of the equipment that you have that we've supplied to the county?
I'm betting that this is going to be in that pack of the paper from the attorney.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, because he was very like, I'm glad that Bill gave me his name because he was very, I mean, talk about educated.
He's done a bunch of them.
Yeah. So
Okay. All right, thank you.
Sound system.
Oh, yeah.
yes. All right.
In the event that we need further help with an interpreter, we're talking, the way it plays out, guys, is that if they require, we have interpreters like we had last time. If they come to meetings, we have to have interpreters, and that costs us some money.
$11,000.
$1,100. Right, $1,100 to have those interpreters here, okay? In the event that they request to come to more meetings, we've talked to White Fiber about providing a service, and you tell me how this service is gonna look, and then you tell me what it's gonna run us.
Okay. And I won't give you dollar and cents because I did this much of it. Eric's been down several times to look and see. And I guess where we were at is I guess I would ask some questions. If you would want this as a Band-Aid or functioning for multiple purposes. And dollar and cents wise, you're not talking a whole lot of difference. From the stance of the, hypothetically, if I was the person that needed to come up and ask questions in my 3-minute time, there has to be not just audio, video. So the way I would do this is I put like a screen probably underneath the air conditioner behind Mayor. The device, it's kind of like this. I want to say there's 13 mics and like, I don't remember what there was, 12 cameras built into it. And it's very high tech. So if Shelly starts talking, it will show everybody, all council members, all the time. Like if you were logged into Zoom or something like that, it will show all council members. But when you talk, there's going to be a bigger screen that pops up with you. This is where the person it doesn't matter at this point, the I don't even know what, the signer,
The
interpreter would be able to hear, because there's mics built into it as well. Where Eric and I were talking, and I think this is where, like, okay, well, do you go a step further and do this right? And that way there's mics and a couple speakers, not big speaker or anything like that, but I mean, so that way if I came up here and talk, I know I have a loud voice, but that way everybody in the audience can hear or at home can hear, and also that would help the interpreter hear. The downside, and I think you guys did a little bit of that at the when the interpreter was here. It doesn't matter if it's human or technology. If all of a sudden I'm talking and I'm going to pick on Shelly, if she starts talking, that is like a no-go. I mean, it's almost to go back to the when I was a teacher, you have the baton, it's your turn to talk. Don't ask questions until you have the baton, kind of thing, because that's where things can get, I guess, dicey with confusing with that. And this was we were not going big scale. We were going like middle of the road way to do this. The other way you could do it, so there's a couple options, or the other way you could do it is basically you have still a monitor, and you'd monitor in a laptop. And now all of a sudden the camera's pointing here. There's nobody else is on video. If I come up to ask a question by signing, the interpreter would see it. It would come up on the screen. And then at that point, like every council member and here would have a mic and it'd tie into a mixer. And that's how that person would get fed audio.
Which is to spend your
They're
close.
They're
The
close.
reason why we're doing this is to prevent the travel for the interpreter. So the interpreter does not have to be on site. Right now, the way these are gonna hopefully get set up is the camera will go to the interpreter, and then the interpreter interprets back to us. That would save the travel. Okay, 2 hours of travel, which would add up.
Yeah.
But you talked about possibly there being not a real person, but a.
AI,
And I haven't dug far enough, because when the last time we talked, it was,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to invest any more time.
If we're not gonna do it.
So you're saying that the interpreter has to be on whatever, her phone or whatever computer, but we still have to pay her
Certainly.
an hourly rate for what she's doing, just that travel time.
Right, so the company that we dealt with, it was $100 for the first hour and then 95 for the second hour.
Okay.
But there's also the caveat, if there's longer than, if the meeting goes over an hour, you have to have 2 interpreters here, and you're paying for both of them.
If they're here, but I don't know if they're on camera.
I
how
think
that
it's
works.
different then,
Yeah.
from what I
I
understood.
didn't check on that.
Okay, so the way I understand it, if it is an actual meeting or a hearing, if a judicial or an actual meeting, there has to be a live interpreter versus what I do with Brett and Kimber, when they come into the office, we can go text, we can go voice to text. We communicate that way when they come in. That is not acceptable in a
Public meeting.
public meeting.
And I was
Or
told.
at least a judicial public, I mean, I don't know, maybe an open meeting it would
So
be.
can we have it the first hour, with that person in the first hour?
I'm still I'm in contact with them, trying to figure out, trying to get an idea about what their further expectations are.
Instead of waiting to the end of the meeting.
Right, I've already told them we need to have at least a week's notice if they're gonna come to a meeting. And then I checked with them on this meeting to make sure. I said, do you guys need an interpreter there this meeting? She goes, no, not the 6th. Okay, so that's why we're working on this.
So you're speaking to them?
Having conversations with them, yeah, over the phone. Because I can't speak to them.
But can I just ask, so if we did decide to do something, what do you anticipate your timeline would be for being able to order the stuff, get it here, and you guys have the time to put it in?
I'd probably say it'd probably be a couple weeks, just from the stance of,
Yeah.
I mean, because it's ordering
Yeah.
things that are things we normally don't order.
Right.
We can't get it from Amazon?
No.
Hey, I watch shows, they put stuff like that in all the time.
So can I just say, I mean, I know you don't want to, but Eric told me, he said anywhere from 2,500 to 3,000, depending on what we did. So, I mean, I guess what you guys have to decide is, if we have to have an interpreter, we'd either need to decide in case they're gonna start coming. We'd either need to decide so we could get it ordered and do it, is what I think, or we're gonna have to get an interpreter again next time, if that's what it ends up being. And that would be another $1,100.
Each time.
And we can only meet for 2 hours.
However, if we use his, it's still gonna cost us $200 to $400 a night.
So we're still gonna have some payback time where we break
Right.
even. Depending on how many meetings.
Even
there are.
using his system.
Right.
it's gonna cost us-
Say we come in a
It
meeting.
could cost us
I know.
$2 to
I know, so
$400.
that's why you guys need to decide.
Yeah.
That's why we wanted to present it to you
It-
and let you decide what you thought.
I mean, if it was every 2 weeks they were present, it'd be a no-brainer.
Right.
Payback's gonna be,
And it's
But
hard,
ROI is gonna be
Coming to
quick.
one meeting a quarter.
and it's hard to imagine
Yeah.
that we're gonna be the only entity that's ever gonna need this, ever.
and that's what I started looking a little bit, and that's a rabbit hole, like the whole AI. Because there's AI for everything else.
Yeah, in a year, this could all change, right?
Yeah, but then I look at it too, like, okay, I'd rather have a camera malfunction than a whole AI where it's saying the wrong thing. But I don't like that. I mean, like,
Not
from
interpreted correctly.
Wi-Fi stand, I mean, that's like a hoot.
And you guys understand that if we can't provide the service, the meeting's canceled.
Correct.
That's our option.
Or if
Yeah.
something fails
Or if something
electronically,
fails, I mean,
we have to can't stop the
Whatever.
meeting.
I guess you're gonna find out they're gonna come more often, is that the deal?
that's what I'm trying to, yeah.
Otherwise,
We had a
right.
conversation over the weekend, so we're working.
Now, when you talk about a mic up there and a mic's here and everything else, is that all wireless or is it wired? No, yeah.
No, I would do everything wired,
Thank you.
100%. I mean,
Yeah, you got time, you can put that together.
And that part, I mean,
Might be the simplest.
that's simple.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
less interference.
Wireless, you can lose every now and then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and there's, just like in a home, you have something hardwired, but it was also, not necessarily aesthetics, but to a certain point aesthetics, like cable chasers and,
That's
and if we did option 2 and there's mics, at that, it might be, okay, well, I assume all these tables are separate.
Yeah.
It might be like we go underneath and they attach now because you're gonna have cables up underneath all of them. And you don't want somebody coming in and pulling, and then all of a sudden it's calling us back for.
Now, I've never been here for the food bank and everything. Do these desks get moved a lot or not?
No,
Not much.
but they do put food on here, so would we be able to remove the microphones from the top of the tables after the meeting and?
You could do it, probably, that, or they would be, like realistically, there'd be like one here, and you're not gonna knock it off. It's gonna be, I won't say bolted down, but fixed.
Secure.
So each table has a mic on it.
Mhm.
And then to make sure they stay, all you gotta do is latch these together.
So Donovan, would that also help in the case where would have a Zoom? Or let's say, or if a council member can't be here, but they zoomed in, sometimes we've had lawyers or guests or something zoom in, does that help with sound? And, because I zoomed one time and all I could see was the clerk typing.
So that's where I go like that first option that we were talking, and they're totally different. So that's the reason, totally different options. I almost like the one option where you have like a couple like mics and the screen and speakers, because then that way it would help anybody on Zoom, because now all of a sudden it's talking and you have to think it's not, I'm gonna go back to Amazon. It's not Amazon audio, because the audio needs to be, less than 1 millisecond, the communication time. Because that way, if you get the cheap stuff, and especially some of the wireless stuff, all of a sudden so there's gonna be a lag.
Yeah.
And that does not work, especially for an interpreter, because Roy says something and all of a sudden lips are stopped moving, or vice versa, and everybody's gonna be like, well, what else did he say?
So
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So you're thinking if we had something overhead, that would work better, like one microphone, is that what you're talking about? No. What are you saying would be the
The
difference?
overhead one, you do not want that.
No,
The
what
city
are you
doesn't,
saying?
because
Instead of having individual microphones, tell me what you're,
so the other option is, it's a device, like the 6-inch square, and it has multiple mics and cameras built into it.
okay.
The downside of that is just noise or other people talking, because it's like more what government uses. So all of a sudden, if I was sitting here pretending and I go like this and I say something, it's gonna pick it up.
It's like Zoom, when you're Zooming, that
Yeah.
whoever,
Yes.
it goes.
So
to
just
them
go
and-
Zoom on steroids.
Oh.
So like that whisper, it's gonna say, oh, that came from over here, even though Mike's talking. And so then it's gonna shift. And that's where from that one, I don't like that aspect, because it's like, we're still human.
That's where politicians get in trouble.
Yes. Well, and I was watching when I was sitting over there, I whispered and stuff like that. And it's like, oh, how many other people are doing this? Which it happens.
Sometimes you just clear your throat
Right.
and the camera will come to you in a Zoom meeting.
Or a drop phone on the floor, or
Yeah.
somebody doesn't silence their cell phone. So, there's lots of,
So another question, Don, do any of these systems affect our ability to do what we're doing now, where we're live for,
Convenience.
That's what I was just gonna ask him too. Would that eliminate this to where we could use that system for the recordings on YouTube?
so the way I would probably, this is just Donovan, not saying, what I would probably do is I'd probably have like, and they're cheap subscriptions. I do like a Zoom, or like a, Teams. And then that way, that would all coordinate to the interpreter, and anybody that wants to log in, they would go to it.
Well, I'm just talking about, like, tonight, could we use that system instead of this small camera and put it out on the YouTube? I would probably I would get away from YouTube, and I would do a Teams or a Zoom. That way you're not running two simultaneous things, because on the YouTube part of it, that would not work for the interpreter.
So you can record Zooms though, so that, because there's a lot of people that, we have quite a few people that listen to these meetings, but not all of them live. They go back on
Oh.
YouTube. So if we would be able to record the Zoom meetings, and then do they become public record? Because that was the question we got into. We'd probably want to run that by the lawyer, because we went back and forth for a while. We wanted them as public record, but then we didn't want to have inundated with public record requests now from these. So there's a lot of things to consider here.
But it was interesting, total sidebar. I thought it was very interesting on public records requests. I logged in, and I don't ask why. I logged into Spokane Valley's and was watching theirs, and they upped their public records request fees.
Oh.
And the council members, and the attorney was there, and they said, and that's the reason they did it.
So people won't do public records requests for no reason.
It was cheap. They kept the same rate if it was the person, like if I wanted a public records request and it pertained to me, but if it pertained to Steve, my rate totally went through a totally different rate. I thought it was very interesting. Is this public record?
No, it's private.
Because it's a private.
Eric said we have to have the minutes, that's our public.
Well, I don't think it'd matter what streaming platform you use it on.
What I'm asking is, if we leave this independent, so it stays in status, will the other system or this one interfere with each other if they're both running?
No.
Then what's the issue?
Yeah.
No, I was just asking
That's what
that
we
it
want.
would take the place of this.
If we could
And
get.
I
That's
don't
not,
wanna do
doesn't
that.
sound like it's going to.
I don't think we can.
All right.
No.
Probably the only thing that I would do, and you said wireless or hardwired, and that's something that I would probably run from out in the shop. I would run an Ethernet cable all the way in here and that way, even internet, everything is hardwired. That way you're taking away possibilities.
Yeah, because I've
of
had
having-
problems some nights where I can't access the internet, and we were delayed or it didn't show at all.
Yeah,
Whereas if I was hardwired, then I wouldn't have to worry about signing
And
in.
he says that because our internet is in the shop.
Yeah.
That's why he said from the shop.
Right,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He told me that.
yeah, then I just run a wire to my computer.
Okay, Donovan.
No,
So-
thank you.
somebody will let me know.
So do we want to make a decision, or do we want to wait?
Or do you want me to get like a hard quote to Kenda?
Please.
Yes.
Get a hard quote.
And it might be 2 quotes.
Well, on the one that you like, because you said the other one you didn't think would work with any other noise.
Okay.
And I will try to get a definitive answer from Babs about what they want to keep doing.
Okay.
And if they are clear, if we don't need them on the 20th, then that buys us a little more time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. Because if the way it's looking, that if we need them by the 20th, we've got to get the interpreters here. We can't wait for you.
I would agree.
All right. Perfect.
But we'll see you on the 20th.
See me on the 20th.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Where are you
Donovan.
at?
I'll have your shirts on too.
I think everybody will. Quick question though, if she is available, would you like if the assessor would come? Oh, I figured that the buck stops with her, so I will see if she's.
Yeah, if we're not confused by then, we.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Tom.
Yeah.
Okay, We checked H off, perfect. For those of you who may or may not know, my budget for my travel to city functions is exhausted. I still have things that are coming up that I would think be important for me to partake in. So we're trying to figure out how to make this all pay. We've talked, there's a couple different options. We've talked about using city gas card, credit card, just to reimburse at least for the travel, however, or at least for the gasoline that I use. However, AWC discouraged that because that's not what the laws say. The law says I'm supposed to get full, that if you're reimbursed the travel, it's supposed to be reimbursed at the AAA rate. That's to cover tires, oil change, or whatever needs to happen. Just FYI, while we're talking about this, that since the 1st of January, and this is just in this calendar year, I have been to Colfax, to a port meeting. I've been to Heart and Soul, to a regular meeting in Tekoa. 21st and 22nd, I was at the AWC Legislative and Small City Advisory Meeting in Lacey. Part of that was paid for by the AWC because I'm on the Small Cities Small Cities Advisory Committee. 26th on January, I went on to the Water Conservancy Board. Kara touched on that earlier. February 11th and 12th, I went to a mayor's exchange as a CEO in Olympia to cut expenses. I left at 5 o'clock in the morning for a noon meeting over at Olympia. And then the next day was a mayor's exchange. That was very helpful. For those of you who may not know, I make lots of connections. And if you've ever seen these name tags, they don't put the town underneath. They put the town on top with your mayor, with your name in the small writing underneath. So the first thing they see is where you're from. I've had communications with many legislators with many different connections. And for those of you who don't know or have never attended, most of the important stuff is decided or talked about in the tables between sessions when you talk to different mayors, different legislators, different people about how things work in their communities or how they solved a certain trouble. In March, on the 16th and 17th, I attended Neurovia conference in Spokane, which was very helpful, and had some really good conversations with people who not just with Innovia, but throughout the state. The 18th, I went to the EDM in Colfax, which is the economic development. The 31st, I went to the port meeting I called Mike up and he went to Federal Partners Coalition, which was a meeting in Pasco. The USDA was there. Michael Baumgartner's legislative aide was there. There was representatives from HED, DEA, veterans. Representative Dent was there, and Rural Partners for Washington was there. In fact, when I was going through the lunch line, I walked through with the state USDA appointee, federal appointee, and when I had conversations with him about problems about sewer and stuff, about our sewer plant, he says, come and find me afterwards. I will introduce you to the guy in Spokane who's the USDA guy for sewer plants, and that's for infrastructure. And I didn't find him, he found me and led me over, and so now I'm, Kinda remembers his name, but I know Rick Rose. In fact, lives just down the street from our engineer, Matt. So they know each other, and Rick remembered Kenda from prior. What brings us up is, first week in May, there is another mayor's exchange in Wenatchee this time, and it's tilted towards labor relations. The first half a day, it starts at noon, the first half a day will be just strictly labor relations. There'll be a panel from Summit Law, which is part of Jennifer Robertson's law group, and will be intense on labor relations. And then the mayor's exchange the following day will be tipped towards labor relations as a CEO, as a mayor. Because I'd already been to one of the mayor's exchanges, I sent an email to Deanna Dawson, and I says, so how does this differ from what I already saw? And she goes, this is going to be way intense on labor relations. It's going to talk about union stuff. It's going to talk about all the pitfalls of being a mayor as a manager, how to handle problems, how to handle all this good stuff. That is, like I said, the first, and then in June, there's the AWC conference that's in Spokane. Like I said, since I've exceeded my budget or at there, we need to get some direction as to what the city is going to allow me or not allow me to do.
So when it comes to Innovia and the what was the other one you said in the
The
summer?
EDM,
The one this summer,
AWC.
AWC, aren't those, don't we already get to send a certain number of people without extra cost?
Sure.
So if it's in
Well,
Spokane,
yeah.
if the local one, so there's really there would,
Yeah, I don't know how the AWC one works, okay? Because I'm on that small city advisory board, if there's a meeting in conjunction with that conference, which I'm guessing there will be, then I get my conference fee waived. Okay, the same thing with Innovia, we didn't pay for that conference.
because like I know, like Northwest Partners, we don't pay for those, right? Either like it,
In the Northwest, we buy an annual membership,
right.
and then there is a meeting cost for that.
But we still have to pay mileage.
If I submit it.
Do you not? You don't say.
I haven't submitted a lot of miles as a share. For instance, when I went down to the Water Conservancy with you, I haven't charged mileage for any of those trips. I understand where the council's at on this. Part of it is I didn't want them to tell me no, I couldn't go because I thought I needed to be there.
As far as the labor one, I mean, wouldn't that be something that a council member should be going to? I mean, because right now, we're using the council and we're using legal advice to negotiate that, so I'm not sure that one is the one that's gonna be the big spender
Well,
here.
that presents an interesting dilemma because I had this conversation with just Kenda today, and I says, going back on it, I'm trying to figure out what would have been the best way to approach this. When the employees wanted to go union. And the way I understand it, and everything I've read and everything I've been told, is that it is the mayor's right and it is his responsibility when there's not a city manager to negotiate the deal. That's pretty much there. And when I talked to MRS, AWC, they says it would be up to the mayor to appoint someone in lieu of himself negotiating that. But the way I understand it is it's a conflict of interest for council members to negotiate the contract because in their negotiation, they're also the ones that are gonna vote on it. I'm a little different because I don't get a vote on whether the contract is accepted or not. I just propose.
Well, that is very opposite from the numerous times that Eric has sat here and said that it is
I understand that.
and with
That's
Eric, we have Tony Menke
Uh-huh.
and his whole legal firm who has said that it is the prerogative. I've talked to 2 or 3 different people at AWC, especially in a class 2 city, that it is the council and they can appoint, and a lot of times they do appoint a mayor. But we kind of got things going kind of cockeyed at the beginning, and I guess that there wasn't good communication. We didn't know what was going on, and so that is why this first time through, anyway, we're this far into it. So I just don't know to invest further. Also, if you remember Oscar Ray, I talked to someone out of his, he was at that conference, that training, and he was with MRSC for a very long time, and I talked to a lawyer out of his, before we picked Tony, and went out of his office, and, she said, they all said that even if we had selected you, which we could have, we just weren't clear, there was a lot of confusion about what happened there, it still has to come back to the council, there has to be clear communication, so, it still feels like there's a real difference of opinion.
All I know is what I read.
Okay, well, I
And
know
what
what
other-
I've heard
And what other
Eric
people,
sit here and say, and what I've talked to other legal people, including Tony. So I just, at this time for that conference, I'm just not sure I see a further investment in that direction. Now, when we get into 3 years, at the end of the union contract, and, we've understood things, we know the contract, at that point, maybe then it would be a good time to, invest in both the mayor and maybe a council member together, getting training on something like that. That's just my thought, off the top of my head here.
Is it true that there's lots more than just the negotiations as far as labor relations?
oh, yes,
It's what you can do versus what the city can do versus what the employee has
Yes, right.
expectations. So if this is current information, I see no reason not to go. I mean, if the city benefits because he knows what he's doing, because he's been there and done that, then we all win. That's my thought.
there is a scholarship available because I've never been to a labor relations board meeting, or one of those meetings. There is a scholarship available that they will waive the fee. And the fee for the mayor's exchange is waived if you're at the first one. So the only thing that would be out there is mileage and a motel room. Because it doesn't start till noon, but then it starts at 7 o'clock the next morning, or 8 o'clock the next morning, sorry.
I don't know, I just thought at this time, I don't think it's worth it. That's my opinion. Nothing against you or anything else. I just don't think it's worth it at this time.
Where's that one at? Where's it at? Wenatchee.
I think it's a little challenging, Roy, is that, you went into the year knowing that there was $500 for you to work with. And, right away you went to a conference and used up your budget right away. And I think so here we are in April and we're hearing a long list of all the different things that you want to be involved in and do. And I think at budget season or early in the year, if we had known that. So I think at this point, I mean, if it were directly related like that conference for the sewer plan and those, I can really see the money there. I'm just thinking of places we have to tighten up. And I know we've had some discussions or some other things that we need to really tighten up. And so that just makes me a little hesitant to add this onto it at this point. Personally, that doesn't mean, I think Matt makes a good point. I just feel like we should have known it had a.
$200 or $300 for the
Yeah, but
but
then how many other conferences come up between now and the end of the year that are imperative for us?
At that point, then he comes back to us.
And again, and then we're put under the gun again. I don't know.
I just think we're letting the city down.
But there is a difference between negotiating a contract, which is what we're doing, and we came to loggerheads with you because you negotiated ahead of us and got way ahead, and then you brought everybody together with a done deal. That's one problem. And so that burnt the council pretty well, and we decided for the good of the council that we had to make a change. And so we got a management team to negotiate this to the best interest, we thought, of the council and the city. That's one issue. The other issue is going to a conference where you learn how to manage the union after the contract has been agreed on is probably a whole separate issue. Some decisions gonna have to be made. And so, it all depends on what's gonna happen. I don't think the council is comfortable with, as it stands now, with the mayor negotiating the contract, but whether or not that applies to you dealing with issues that come up after the contract has been resolved, which is complicated, to say the least. And so that's kind of where we are. Going to these training sessions, it would be not just that one. I think a number of us had some problems when you were going to conferences. Sometimes we didn't know you were going, and sometimes we didn't know what the outcome was. Now, the last time you went, you indicated why you wanted to go, and you came back and you gave us a real report on what you accomplished. But that was helpful. I mean, as we were saying, the sewer plants and the people you had contact with. I know myself, I did a lot of politicking with the legislature. It makes a difference. It does who you're talking. They remember you, and if it comes down to they have to approve the grants or the funding for that, it's who you know and nothing else. So those are important. But on the other hand, it would be helpful if you wanted to go to something and you thought it was really important, you came to the council and said, I want to go to this. You think, is it important enough for the council willing to pay for it? And then yes or no. And then if it's a yes, then you come back and you let us know what you accomplished, what the outcome was, how did it help the city and the council. That's kind of what we are. That's what we are. So I think there are issues, there are places to go that are helpful to the council. Others, they're interesting, but I'm not sure how much it impacts the council directly or the city government. How that sorts out, the only way we know that is to make a case for them when you want to go.
Do you know how many more meetings there are for you for the year that you want to go
When
to?
next we want to go to the
First one is the
The labor one.
the labor one.
next one?
That's the one technically we gotta know by tonight
Okay. And then when's the next one? After
in
that?
June.
You know,
That's not a
okay.
full one.
It's getting so dang late now, guys.
having been on both sides of the negotiations as a negotiator for a union, twice different organizations, I'm sure you're familiar with it. There's a lot of stepping stones in labor relations that if you mess up, it gets expensive. If he gets a chance to educate on labor relations, so he's doing it by the numbers, he comes back and says, hey, look at what I learned. I can do this, but I can't do that. That's gonna save the city a lot of money. And again, it boils down to not just the council, but the people that we represent that put us here. And I feel strongly about labor relations. It's what, a motel room and a mileage? Come on, folks.
I'm sorry, but you're sitting there, Roy, telling us that as the mayor, you should be the one to be negotiating it, and you've been told many times, so I guess I personally don't have confidence that you're gonna come back and bring stuff to help us work together with you, but rather find ways to, work around the council, for your own point of view.
So
So that's a difficult thing for me right now, and I'm sorry, there's just been some bad words there.
So what are you afraid of?
That
If you're in deep on the right on this thing,
Mhm.
what are you afraid of?
The fact that we have to go head to head with you time and time again, when you,
Well,
when you hear stuff about Eric laid out to you who's in charge of it, and you insist that it's not so.
No,
And so
you're-
that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that you'll go back to a pattern of not communicating well, so that a whole contract gets set in front of us that has already been negotiated, and the council didn't have any knowledge of it. That's what I'm afraid of, because that's happened.
Well, I understand that. You still had to approve that, and we could still take, and ma'am,
So
we could still take it back to, at that point, it could still go back to the union. And we could have still done what you're doing now without paying a lawyer to step in.
Except that we found out that there's a lot of things that were negotiated in there, and it was a negotiated contract that was handed to us.
Right.
And we were told if we didn't do it, that we were gonna get sued if we didn't go along. And there's a council member in this room and yourself, you asked me the question, I'm answering that, Roy. That you pressured us to immediately accept it. And even Jimmy, as we have come to learn, as he's moved to the state, there's a lot of things he didn't quite have right in that. There's some things that if we had done, and I've pointed this out before, if we would have agreed to, were illegal. One of our members did not qualify, one of our employees did not qualify to be a member of the contract. We would have signed and agreed to that. There would have been so much litigation involved in trying to make that right, that you would have pressured us to say, oh, let's just let it go. So it's imperative that the council be educated and knowledgeable so that we know. And I just don't I don't have a lot of confidence that you will always include the council in what you are learning. That rather you use it to go a direction that is your priority. And I don't fault your priority. I'm glad you're pro employees. But it is very unusual to have a mayor who is only looking at it through the employee and not looking through it at the cost to our taxpayers and to our citizens. So it's been a very awkward situation. So I'm not ready to invest more in that. I don't know that we have, I'm with Dan, we can just vote. I mean, maybe more of the council members feel differently than I do, and let's just vote on whether or not we feel we can.
I still think it's money well spent. Because it could come back in the positive for the council as well as a positive for him. But it draws lines where he can and can't go. That's the first problem that we come about if he doesn't know that he's doing something that's wrong.
So as
If
a
he gets
council
labor
member,
relations guidance for the mayor, because he's the one that's gonna deal with it between the contract negotiation, doesn't mean we're gonna go back and he's gonna negotiate a contract. No, we're not gonna change what we're doing right now. All he's asking is to attend a labor relations, educational seminar, conference, whatever. So he's got a chance to learn about what he can and cannot do.
I did not hear that from what Roy just said.
That's what labor relations is all about.
And I get that, and then I think a council member should be able to go too, so both parties are hearing, because I feel like we don't hear the same things, we have different priorities, and again, just the fact that you're telling me, you didn't want to go back and do the way you were doing it, just tells me that maybe you haven't seen the importance of the whole process and what was wrong with that.
It's not about that, it's about budgeting him to go and get educated. If a council member wants to go, then the council has to approve that budget too for the travel for the council member. Just that simple.
Well,
We don't need to make a
it wasn't.
mountain out of the wall, Bill.
And this is May, this conference is in May.
I was hesitant to say this, but I'm going the 1st of May, whether you guys take it forward or not. I think
Well,
it's
And that's your project.
No, I
That's
won't build a
fine.
city. That's good.
So Roy, your budget for this year was what, 700?
Yeah.
Which was up 200 from last year. Because it was 500, I think, the year before.
Yeah, it might have been,
It
yeah.
was.
right.
And you get 400 a month.
Yes.
He's actually spent $438.75 out of the 700. There's $261.25 left.
No.
Because there was
not much,
something that he didn't charge for or
Right.
something.
But my thought is, 400 a month and plus the 700 a year budget, can't that be managed to do kind of what you're doing now even? I mean, you can go to these things like once a month, and is it more than $400?
Not normally.
So that should cover it,
Well, okay, so, and
once
then,
a month, which,
sure, and then, of course, the time I come down and spend during the day or daily is
Yeah,
not
but-
being compensated at all.
no.
Oh, you
Well,
need your money.
But a lot of mayors, as you know, got $99 a
Sure,
month.
right.
And there's only been 2 that get 400.
Mhm.
And even at the time I thought, well, that's kind of a lot, but it can be applied to do what you're doing.
Certainly.
and maybe, and that plus the 700 added to it. And if it doesn't apply, then maybe it's too many places going too often.
I agree.
And
you
maybe
know what,
we
I
need
don't,
to prioritize.
sure, I don't argue with that. Okay, I kind of think it's like a junior high dance. Okay, you don't know if you need to go, but you're afraid you're gonna miss something if you don't. There's been times when I've gone to conferences not knowing if it was the right thing to do. Mike and I went down to Pasco. Seemed like a good conference. It was really heavily loaded with big time people. I mean, there's a lot of federal employees, appointees there, state employees. There was almost as many presenters, as many people out there presenting as there were attendees there. I mean, and I, you know, and to be able to sit there and next to the USDA guy and tell him my concerns with USDA that I've heard is that getting USDA money is awful, and the reason why they have money is because it's awful. He was taking notes. He says, I agree that the whole process is daunting sometimes. And then there's been times when I go and it's maybe okay, maybe it's not as good. But Carl and I have had this conversation away from here, and he says, you know, a part of it is just showing up. And Michael Baumgartner's appointee Spokane guy is set to come up and visit us and wants to see the sewer plant. That was the same conversation that they alerted that St. John was going through some problems with their sewer plant. They're just ahead of us. And they were talking about, and I don't know the details, but they were talking about that it was gonna have to raise St. John sewer rates when they put in their plant. And so Carl and Kara were back at DC last week, and I believe or 10 days ago maybe. They were back at DC as I was in Pasco, as we were in Pasco, that's right. And they got a hold of Baumgartner's office, and they've got a line item coming in the budget to help compensate so that their sewer rates won't be impacted. And it's conversations that I hear like that, I mean, a $500 trip could turn into $1 million nest egg. And I'm not willing to let those things not happen, because I don't want them not to happen because I'm not there.
So what are you saying? I mean, you got $261, that's what you said?
Yeah.
So are you just telling us you're going, or you're asking to spend that 261? Or is it gonna be more than that?
I don't know.
Wouldn't that be worth it to save that money and go to the AWC ones?
If I had to make my choice, I'd go to Wenatchee. If I had one of the above, I'd go to Wenatchee. Because I think that one is the important one at this point. Now, you know, caveat, because I'm on it, I don't know the AWC. All the one at Spokane is just mileage back and forth, and I'm not going to build that. I hope they're not listening in the auditor's office, but you know what I mean? I mean, I believe that the AWC, there will be a meeting that is my committee meeting up there. And because of that, that fee will be waived, the entry.
Well, I don't mind the AWC, but I just think the union thing is just.
Do you want us to make a motion to?
No, I don't want you guys to do a thing.
For me?
I'm just telling you the facts.
See, I have some concerns, I'm sure I'm not alone, that when you go to, the statement you made earlier, when you go to this conference, that in some way it'll motivate you to take more responsibility and more control and interference in this negotiating process we're dealing with the union. My impression is you've had some contact with Jimmy already, besides what we were doing?
Yeah, once, yeah.
So, I mean, we're trying to get this solved as the governing body of the city. And then you seem to be going in another direction, that's all.
Yeah, I believe the labor relations has nothing to do with what's going on with you guys in the city at this point. I'm out of the loop. You guys don't tell me what's going on, and the union doesn't tell me what's going on.
Well, they can't, that's part of the agreement.
Yeah,
Can I just tell you why he called Jimmy though? It was just because we were doing a contract for an employee and he just wanted direction. That was the only reason why he even reached out to him.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, it's
So
not
to
like he was trying to
To
negotiate
get back on
anything.
track here, it says mayor education budget, so you're asking for more money in your budget. Right now, I hear you have some money there, you get to spend that at however you want at that point. And I'll point out too, I mean, I get it, it's hard, I do appreciate all that you are doing with that, I really do.
I don't
I
get
just
that.
think-
I don't get that sense.
I guess I question the Wenatchee one, because of how you presented it, I feel we're philosophically at odds about that. But the rest but the things that you are doing for the city, I appreciate. But then we do have a lot of huge expenses and things, and we do have budgets for reasons. So we get $40 a month. And I mean, I've put in hours and hours on different things since I've been on the council, and that there's no reimbursement. When I've gone to Colfax and I've gone to places, I've never asked for a reimbursement for gas or anything. I know one or two council members maybe have done that, but I just kind of figure it's part of, of what I do. So I thought Marge made a really good point, is that, we get, you get one of the higher stipends that a mayor has gotten since the history of the town, and with the others is that you just have to kind of decide whether it's gonna work. If you're gonna go to the one in Wenatchee, you still have some money in there, if that helps you with it. I don't know that at this point, I see increasing the budget as a reason to do it at this moment in time.
I'm glad you're willing to take that risk, because I'm not. I'm not willing to take that risk that by me not showing up, that we don't lose traction. I think I'm just going to throw this out. I think of a lot of things that have happened in the community of the airport, the industrial park. A lot of things that have happened maybe have not been triggered by me, but it sure doesn't hurt that I show up. And Kara alluded to tonight that I've gone down to EDM meetings, okay? Economic Development Report, okay? I guess who was at the last table? The last time we were there, Schessler, Schmick, and Dye were there. I had conversations with each one of them. Governor Ferguson's representative was there. Gave me his card, we're setting up a meeting in Spokane about line items, about budget earmarks, especially for this. Now, if I don't ask, it's not gonna happen. They're not gonna just dream it up and say, we're gonna give it to you. You gotta ask, you gotta show up.
So you still have money in your budget. If you want to use it, could you present us with a list of what you think between now and the end of the year, what ones that you think for the most part that you can, so then you're just coming like a week before you have to go to one, so I mean, I think we could
I don't know that there's a list that we get.
well, if you know some of the.
Summers
stuff that
are
we're-
pretty quiet.
Okay, so
Because everybody likes
it's not
their
reasonable, that's why we budget, I mean, most of these that we're hearing about, like the one in January, you already signed up and going to, and we didn't. And that's fine, you have the budget, you can pick and choose which ones you wanna go, so I feel if we could get a list from you, or at least a ballpark of how much more you would like to see in your budget. And then we can kind of weigh it against the other things and decide whether or not we need to increase that, would that be fair?
I can certainly present the list, yes. As I know of,
You don't need a budget for anything right now, Bobby.
But you have money in that.
I don't need it. That's up to you guys.
I mean,
I'm
you
gonna,
brought it
if I
to
go
us.
to Wenatchee, it's gonna blow it out. If I submit it. If I submit the travel, if I submit that. But
It's $500 and some for the conference though.
yeah, but
And then the mayor's thing was 99. free.
if we get the early sign up, knocks $100 off. And there was an early sign up date, and that's today. It's
I
not
didn't
over.
think it was gonna take more than $100 off that.
Today's, anyway. And there's also a scholarship for first-time attendees, which I am one. And they are pretty, we've qualified for that before. And part of that is because of, believe it or not, I became acquainted with AWC people. They know me. That's part of their problem too. I mean, I'm known by sight now. They know who I am. They know I'm there. And,
Well,
Can we just,
go ahead.
well, like
I know it's late.
Yeah, like, can we just can I make a motion to increase your budget by $400 this month? So you can go, and then maybe month by month, we can just see.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Well, I guess that without extending it, we said, I'm particularly anxious about the portion of this labor issue, as I already stated earlier, not the management portion, but, and because of that, it's having, what you're presenting is crummy. If it came later, that'd be a lot better, but we're in the middle of it. And what you're talking about seems to be a conflict, and that particular one. What Shelley was saying, when you bring other conferences that you think are important, coming to us and explaining it, I think you'd probably get a warm reception. This one might be an exception, what you're talking about. But others, I do think there are some real importance in those. It makes a difference, as you said. I can agree, I've done that, it doesn't, well, you know. So, I don't think we want to put the baby out with the bathwater, but on the other hand, there we are.
Where we're at on the negotiations right now has absolutely nothing to do with him.
Yeah.
Going to a seminar to learn more information.
Yeah, he could
That
learn a
makes
lot.
him more valuable to the city. It has nothing to do with the negotiations now, that's not gonna change.
Can we vote?
Okay, any more discussion? Okay, we're gonna pull this thing. We're gonna go around. All those in favor of the motion that we increase my travel budget by $400, right? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Present,
I need a
What'd you
reason. She said present, reason why.
but I feel like we needed more preparation. So
Okay.
really-
So
I gave you what I would like for
Okay,
you to
so
do,
you
is to
understand-
present and vote on it later.
you understand in the event of a tie, a present vote is a yay.
I thought it was a no.
That's a yes.
It's a yes.
Okay, so I'll vote no. I am against.
You're voting no. No?
No, yes.
Okay, we're 2-2.
No,
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Gotta make sure I got all this. So Dan, yes,
Motion fails
Reed, yes,
4-3.
Marge, no.
We're still open for you bringing, to us, whatever else you might want to do. There's still another way to make this happen.
Okay. Amazing. All right. New employee, the city last week hired as our new public works assistant, John Leahy. He is a plumber resident. He lives in tribal housing. He's got kids going to our school. He's not that it matters. He's, I'm gonna guess early to mid 30s. It was pretty much a unanimous decision, although as hard as it was fairly unanimous. It was unanimous between the interviewers, which was Mike, Dave, I, and Stephen.
He brings a lot to the table as far as experience, not only with just mechanics and things like heavy equipment. And he flat out told us he's looking for a place to have longevity employment because he wants to start thinking about some type of retirement planning. And he doesn't plan on going anywhere. I mean, I got the impression, number one, the guy's super knowledgeable, got a lot of experience, and he's gonna be here for a while, so we don't gotta go through this again.
He's not gonna be grossed out by the sewer company.
No, he's got kids. So,
I think so does what's his face.
he starts tomorrow. Okay, the reason why he's not here, he had a medical procedure today, so he's gonna start tomorrow and, up and rolling, so. We will probably have him come to the meeting so you guys can, meeting, so.
Good guy.
Yep, very good guy. The wages we start him at was 27,
28.
28, excuse me, 20. Because, for numerous reasons, but I think that's, he's gonna start immediately on getting his mosquito license. I did talk to Kevin tonight,
Oh, you did?
yes,
Oh.
and he was really busy and I was stopping traffic and people were honking at me. But we need to talk, and I think all he needs to do is repay to get the certifications. I don't think he has to any more classes. I think all he has to do is pay the money to get the license and it would transfer.
Who, Kevin?
Yes,
Just renew it.
just renew it.
What are you talking about? Okay, I missed that whole
The
thing.
mosquitoes license, mosquito application.
Oh, so he will do it?
It's expired.
Cause he was
Oh,
not going
he's-
to, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, well, he kind of told us that he was gonna be done, but he lives in this town too. He's getting eaten up by mosquitoes
Yeah.
also.
So
My
Kevin
house.
needs to get, just to pay to get his,
Yeah,
Okay.
and I've talked to him and I think I can twist
Okay.
his arm and get him
Okay.
to get the process done.
That's a better way to go.
Yeah, until we get licensed.
okay, sorry.
As long as
That's what
he,
you were
I
talking
think
about.
Kevin will go as long as he knows we're working to it. Okay, or I hope he's not like Kevin. Okay, this deposit
Okay.
discussion.
So, I just wanna talk to you about this, and we can do this next time, but we have a utility customer who went bankrupt. They did not collect the debt, they did not get it filed soon enough to get that reimbursed by the bankruptcy. They
The
moved,
city did not.
the city did not.
Okay.
The person moved back into their house and is getting water, sewer, and garbage again. But I feel uncomfortable with somebody that has filed bankruptcy in the past, not having some kind of a fee in order for them to have that given to them, because we just lost a bunch of money.
Did they have to pay a connection fee again?
No,
Oh, no,
we
it was
don't.
never unhooked.
Okay.
Question,
We don't have a connection fee.
do we require, background checks on anybody? Do we do we run a credit check on people when they're gonna hook up,
How can we do that? Because then what, we're just gonna not give them water and sewer?
if they have bad credit? So what are we saying to this guy?
Well, to this woman. So I think that we should have some kind of deposit if they have filed bankruptcy.
On us?
On
Is that in
us.
our, is that in our ordinance?
So what,
No, that's why I'm trying to see if you guys,
1 month's fee?
Pay ahead
I
one
don't know,
month?
that's up to you guys. I
How
just,
much are we out?
it was a lot. I don't know what it was. I didn't look before I came.
So they
It's-
paid money.
It's close to $1,000
And then-
or more than
What's that,
$1,000.
about 4
Pardon?
months? What's that, 4 months?
I don't know. I wasn't here,
Oh.
but it was a
I think
lot of
this-
money.
How'd it get so high?
I don't know, I wasn't here.
It
I
takes
will
long,
tell you,
actually,
that-
3 months would be about it, I don't think.
But that's why we're trying, we just sent out letters to people and said, we will be shutting you off. That we're 3 months past due, and they will be shut off on Monday. Because they owe for 3 months.
Yeah, I think that if you did that, 1 month in advance.
And then
That would
shut them off if they don't pay it.
Yeah, that would be my thing.
Because of previous history.
I mean, their credit ratings, all, yeah.
But I'm gonna have to put it in the
I've never run
ordinance.
into that before.
Well, I think we're gonna
Better-
run
we
that
better
by
check
the
with Eric
the
on
lawyer
this.
first, yeah.
We gotta make sure we have legal ground standing on this.
No, anybody can do a deposit. Most towns do deposits for their water
Yeah.
system.
And
First-
what's
We're
the-
unusual that we don't,
First month deposit, yeah, or what?
whatever,
Would it be refundable? You
yes.
know,
It-
yeah, if
So
they
you-
leave, we could refund the
Be like a
deposit.
damage
So,
deposit.
you know, why not, a $500 refundable deposit, because then we're gonna get paid.
But I think, you're saying 500, so that's over the 1 month, so I think
So-
we need to find out.
Can I say something? So they have, our ordinance says they have 2 months, they can be past due 2 months, and then the 10th day after 2 months, you can shut them off. That is what our ordinance currently says. We want to look at that to possibly change it, but since it says 2 months, it might benefit us to charge them 2 months and, for their deposit, because then we wouldn't be out if they did.
Do we have any knowledge of whether they're bankrupt, like medical problems or whatever?
I have no idea.
When you're saying 2 months, are they all the same, in the different, depending on the house?
Average.
Right.
So you're saying
Or you can-
500 would be a better,
It's in
I
that
don't
city.
even go that high.
yeah,
That's like first and last month's requirement on an apartment.
yeah.
Are they
You
in the
know, if
house?
it's refundable, they know they're gonna get it back if they leave. 2 months is not bad, because then if they don't pass for 2 months, the deposit becomes ours.
Right.
Are they in the house now, Kendra?
Yeah, they're already in now. So I don't know the legality of that. I just wanted to bring it up.
Good point.
If we can actually charge them after the fact. And so I'll check into it. I just wanted to bring it up to you because I think even if we don't do it with this person, I think that we need to do this if this ever happens again. Usually when they go bankrupt, they leave or they are moving or, but
I would get a hold of Mara, see what they say.
I will.
Did they leave owing water and sewer bill? Oh,
Yeah, that
That's
was,
what,
yeah. And it
Okay,
should have,
so
and they
why,
went bankrupt.
I guess policy.
But the city didn't,
Reimbursement.
you have to put in and say that, hey, they owe us money, but the city didn't get a chance to respond in time.
You have to do
For
it
whatever
legally
reason.
with the
Oh.
court.
So we were out that money, otherwise through the bankruptcy, which is not necessarily a fault of this person, it's gonna be on our side that we didn't
Right.
put it in there, so.
Right,
we
and
can't just.
I did check with
Us-
MRSC and they said, or I read about it and it said, once they're bankrupt and you didn't file a claim, you're out the money.
She's the owner of the house, correct?
As far as I know. I just don't know that much about it.
Okay,
I just wanted to bring it to your
so
attention.
she's the owner of the house, so in the event she gets sideways again, the bank will be pretty clear, and we can go lean on the house again. If we have to, but that's expensive. It's
It's
what,
expensive.
it's like $400 file lien or
Yeah,
something.
I think a deposit makes sense. Like you do
Good
it
luck.
first or last
well, the
month.
deposit is just gonna pay what they owe you.
Right,
Or
because
that
we would
already.
get that back if we shut off the water at 2 months like we're supposed to, 2 months and 10 days.
I think we just have to make sure legally that we are, because, Mike used to be in property management, so he had nightmares like this, so. But, you have to make sure that whatever you're doing, it's, equally applied.
Right.
So we're either applying it towards anybody who has lived here and had a bankruptcy and has come back, or we apply it toward, I don't know, whatever our standard is. We just to make sure that it's something that's evenly applied, that doesn't single out one person, especially because the fault was kind of on us, that we didn't
Right, right.
collect that. So that's also, it sounds like a conversation with a lawyer before we.
Well, I would call MRSC because you can't.
I'm not sure we would have collected anyway.
Yeah, well, but I'm just saying legally we
Right.
don't know that.
Yeah, we need more information.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring it to your attention and we might not be able to even charge them, but I just think it's something we need to look at.
We feel your pain.
Okay, all right, at this point, the sound system's been covered, the cedar mahogany's
I
been
need one
covered.
more thing, you forgot this. Approved payments for bills paid to.
Oh, no, okay, approved payments.
Yeah.
So I gave you copies of
sorry,
those.
yes, yes,
I
sorry.
did not know that since it's a grant, I have to have those approved in order to pay him. I did already pay him. I could get in trouble for that. I did not know, but there's 3 that I have not paid him for. Well, I didn't know. Eliza told me after the fact that I needed to have that done. So I gave you copies of all those and I just wanted for you to approve, blanket approve.
We'll make
Make a
a
motion to approve.
Thank you.
CE and second.
Well, yeah.
All those in
Thank
favor?
you.
Aye. Opposed, same sign? Okay, great.
Thank
Pass.
Hey, Dan, I
Okay,
didn't jump
so
in.
we're gonna pivot here, and I did get to
I
Kendra
didn't
before.
jump in on your second, just let you know.
What?
Okay. Nothing.
Okay.
Okay, so because of what happened at our last meeting, we had a public comment, and it would have been helpful to have a chance for clerk or myself to answer a question that was maybe
Oh.
presented in public comment. For
Oh,
instance, when the Babs were talking.
sorry.
Yeah, no, and if we'd put the public comments ahead of the reports, then it allows us to address that as a
Oh, in the
different,
report.
you see what I mean? Okay, we could have cleared that up with Babs and told them.
Roy, can I point out too, that actually in our handbook and also in MRSC, that any time we actually can answer, one of two ways. Either you just determine that the situation is important enough that you say yes, or the council can vote, the majority of the council can allow that discussion to continue on, but, so, just so you
Okay.
know.
At this point, are there any more public comments? Steve? Are we gonna have to answer you? Maybe.
I do have one question for Kenda.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna address it in reverse order from the agenda, just because I remember what I want to ask about. Okay, so the water thing and bankruptcy, the city screwed up by not being at the courtrooms. You're out. Tough luck. That's it. Done.
Right.
Accept it. Okay, mayor's education. I can't believe you people. He needs to be at this stuff. That budget needs to be increased. So here's my question for you, Kenda. How much is allotted for building inspector education each year? It's a few $100. And when was, you probably can answer this part of it, but when was the last time any of that was used?
I don't think it has.
It's I don't know, a couple $100 a year. I never use it the whole time I
Oh,
was
right
there.
here, building inspector training. Oh, $1,000.
$1,000 a year. I did it for 5-6 years. There's $6,000 sitting there, been sitting there the whole time. It ought to be at least $2,000 a year, especially with the cost of everything has gone up. So $2,000 a year probably is on the low side still. All right, let's see. There was something else I was going to hit up about. Sorry, I didn't have a pen with me to make notes.
There's a whole bunch under that desk. Grab them anytime.
What? I looked over here and
Oh,
I
right under there.
okay, golf course, the lease agreement. Okay, so you want to increase the rent by 100%. Yeah, I know they can probably afford it. I get it. I understand that. 100% increase starting next month. So I don't know. I would have a hard time taking that if it was my apartment, my house payment, whatever it is. 100% increase in 1 month. I would say starting next season, because this season's already rolling. Okay, I know it's another $600 for the year, or whatever prorated $400 it ends up being, but 100% increase is what you guys are going to ask for. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Okay, we'll go to reports. You guys have heard my report, basically. So I got nothing, I don't think. Like I say, Pete and I are meeting out at the golf course on Thursday. I hear there might be a meeting Wednesday sometime, Thursday, I'm not sure when, about the repairing grant we're after. We're chasing to try to
It is
get.
at 9:45, sorry. It was gonna be at 1 o'clock originally.
You're talking about the one on the 8th for the next Zoom call?
No, this is the
Oh, this is
meeting
the
out
other
at the golf course. It's
Oh,
9:40.
yeah,
It's changed to 9:45.
I think that's what I told.
Yeah.
I can look on my calendar.
Okay, all right, okay, fine.
Okay,
That's good to know now.
Okay,
Okay. I will continue to do whatever I think I need to do to, I live here too. I'm paying this money too, so. Okay, we'll start around. Reed, you already got? Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Staff, chief staff.
the only thing I would like to say is, I think that we are very lucky to have Steven. I know he's not in attendance tonight to hear me, but I worked with the other two guys. I'm not saying that they didn't do a great job. He is so on top of things and he is so willing to do whatever needs to be done. And I just want you guys to know, I don't know, you probably don't see it as much as I do, but he is such a great employee and we are very lucky to have him. I think Nikki's does a great job too, but Steven honestly goes above and beyond and don't know, I've just been very impressed by him, and I just wanted to
They all
give a
do,
shout out.
all
Yeah.
three of them do. And poor guy moving into this, he's gonna have to hit the ground running, because they're putting in meters tomorrow.
He's pretty excited though.
He's gonna be a good guy.
He'd be working there today if they'd let him.
Yeah.
Or for free probably, I mean.
Okay, all right,
Gotta get scoped out.
Reed,
I just had a question. My family used the rest area Saturday afternoon, and the men's bathroom didn't have any paper products. And my daughter said the female side, paper products were all over the floor. And I don't know who's responsible or when it's cleaned, if it's every day or what
It's
time of
supposed to be
day.
every day that we pay that.
yeah,
But, so on Saturday afternoon, when we have a lot of people flying through here on 27 and stopping there, to have it
Okay.
not reusable, I don't think is a
It
good
was-
sign for the
It
Tekoa.
was the same way Saturday morning.
Okay.
okay, thanks. I'm gonna try to keep an eye on it, check it more often, because things can happen pretty quick.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a place I think for 2 or 3 rolls of toilet paper and it was nothing. No paper towel. So
Okay.
But I
what's
think people steal it.
You can't.
Oh,
Unless you
yeah,
pull the
well,
whole thing
they're-
off, it's locked on.
Okay.
All right, okay, Dan,
The only thing I gotta add on with her, I came down and asked Steve a couple questions, and didn't expect him to go up there right away.
yeah, that was good. He needed to start the jetter truck up anyway.
But yeah, he just came up and,
No, yeah, I never said this enough, but we are blessed. He's a good guy and he cares about what this place looks like and Dave?
No, I don't.
Sean?
Two things really quick, is that you asked Marge and I to look into cleanup stuff for UCA. Would you remind me what's the date they're coming down?
It's
May.
like the 5th. I've got a little more information than that, and we are splitting the day with Rosalia.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got Richie's number. I will send that to you. You need to call him and find out, get a little bit of a wraparound as to what this thing should look like.
Do you have anybody that responded to you yet from you put it in the city newsletter? Is there?
We had a guy come in today.
And I have his name.
And then you can let us know. And then, are there parameters, like, can they do things at our school? I thought there was something about that.
They trimmed the bank at the school. They've
So there
said,
is a project there that I talked to Mike about
Right.
it there, but I didn't know if they could do it at the
that's,
school.
once again, that's probably another question for Richie to make
And
sure.
can they
that-
do litter out on the highway or not? That's a Richie question.
That's a conversation and, and vests and there's a whole bunch of safety things that have to happen.
All right, well, if you get us,
Just do it.
if you get us the number.
I will get it to you.
Well,
I got it to you. I
And then
apologize. that I got-
And I'm sorry, I was sitting here thinking about our earlier conversation about that trailer down there, and that we're asking them to move. And there is one distinction, is that normally when you have a trailer on your property, it's not hooked up. It's just stored there. So when we were saying that, we can't ask them to move it, I mean, definitely we can't, or it shouldn't be hooked up. Because that's the whole thing, is that people have to live in them, so you're not hooking your trailers up to the system. We made an exception for that. So as Mike is following through in the ordinance, you see what I'm saying? That's different than if you're storing it on your property. Nobody else in town is hooking up to the system, or should be, because that's not in our ordinances. So we might need to ask them to move it to make sure that they aren't staying hooked up. They can have hookups on their property, sure, in preparation for what they're gonna bring in. We can't tell them they have to get rid of their hookups, but I don't
We
think they're
need to
following.
disconnect their water and sewer. I mean, plain and simple, because they can't be living there, so if they don't have water and, you can't have water
Okay,
and
well
sewer.
then, okay, so I just was
Right.
it sounded like we were saying that we couldn't disconnect them and that we couldn't ask them to move it, but I'm thinking we can, because they're.
Are they paying their water and sewer bill?
Yes, but if we tell them to move out, I'm saying that if they move out of the trailer, they can leave the trailer there if we disconnect the water and sewer.
But can't they, I mean, you can have water and sewer on your
Oh, if we
property. if
unhook the water and sewer, not
Right.
just. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
that's what
all
I'm
right.
saying, okay,
Okay,
we're not wasting more
I
time on
think
it.
they should move it anyway, because it's too close to.
Yeah, that's Greece, that's, yeah.
But I don't know that you can make them. We don't have a setback for a Trail.
Certainly, and there's
For
a
a
whole
trailer.
bunch of homeless stuff that's happening around the country that people can't take care of. There's people parking motorhomes on streets and nobody can do a thing about it.
Well, I didn't mean to open up, I'm just,
No,
I just want
I,
to support.
that's the caveat we get into, that's it.
Okay, last weekend, Jerry called me and said that he thought a sewer pipeline had broken from the clubhouse and there was a float running down the driveway. So I called, and he called after everybody got home. He admitted that he waited too long. And so I called Stephen and he told him about it. He said, well, he'd get to him when he could. And I said, well, he said he didn't think there'd be a problem because that system was really good because he checked it. I said, I'll run down and just take a look since I'm going that way anyway. And I'll, you know, so I went down and looked and it didn't smell, it looked like just, and there'd been a lot of rain. But then also been a lot of golfers, like 50 of them that day. So I couldn't smell much, so I went and checked it and I couldn't see where anything was, it was obvious. You couldn't see anything. Everything looked pretty good. So I called Stephen and he thanked me for it. And then he apparently that next day went down and checked it all out. I think he even ran a camera down again. He said everything was great. And I like I said, and he left me a message, asked me to call him. I did. I thanked him for doing it. He said it wasn't a problem. It was just groundwater from rain. So I agree. I've never had a problem with Stephen. I think he's been great. He took care of it. I told Jared this is what we had, and everybody was happy. But I thought that response from Stephen was really way over the top.
We're not so sure they don't have a leak, the pipe broke
Oh,
in
did
the
it?
clubhouse.
Oh, in the club.
And so, but we're not sure, and so that's, when I was out there, I drive a bus out there, and it was really good. When they called, I talked to Steve, I says, there's a lot coming down. It was coming down actually both sides of the driveway.
Yeah, it was, on both sides.
But then, the last time I was out there, just a week ago, or within the last week, it had almost dried up. So I don't know what's going on.
Don't we have a meter out there? They would
Yes,
be doing this,
yeah, that's what,
right?
that's
Dave?
what, that's what.
I agree. I told Stephen, you're the expert. I'm passing it on to you, but I really appreciated his interest and his going the extra due diligence, the extra mile. I think everybody was. So I give him kudos.
Right?
Not a,
No.
Yeah, sure, no thanks. I know, I said I wanted to go home.
No problem.
Yeah.
We're not doing that dumpster cleanup thing.
Nope.
Okay, okay, that's it.
Okay, I'll accept the motion to approve the bills, then to adjourn.
A motion that we approve the bills and there's got to be a separate.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, we approve the bills, move to second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same time, okay.
A motion that we adjourn.
Moved. Nobody's got a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Opposed? Okay.
9 o'clock on the dot. You're not excited about it? Oh, I know.
Sitting over there all
Yeah.
Lunch pellets.
Oh.
That's